We're recording.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week, we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing. 5 cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name of some so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all with 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to the first ever Straight Chilling triple feature. My name is Bob, and I'm going to be your host for the evening. This is episode number 261, recorded on Monday, April 6th, 2020. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Blade Trilogy. All 3 Blade movies starring Wesley Snipes. We're getting into them tonight. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Astoria, Oregon, we got our boy, Randy Gandy. G-Landy, what's up, man?
What's up, dude? How's it going?
Chilling, ready to talk about some suckheads.
Some suckheads, huh?
Yes.
Interesting.
Very, very. Last but not least, calling in from Southern Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up, man?
What up? It's Shabai as a vampire. Sent to stay.
This has gone way too
I forgot to make that into a pun.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That's right.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
What
Your
up?
boy is a vampire.
Your boy is a
That's some of your finest work.
I thought you'd like that, Goth Bob.
I gotta be honest with you.
That sounds pretty
Smashing
prime for a
Pumpkins.
Hot Topic tea.
No,
Dude, I'll take it.
I would wear it.
Shaboy's
Your
a
boy's a
vampire.
vampire.
Your boy is a
Sent
That
to
sounds like
stay.
merch. Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Randy, make it.
Add it to Randy.
You're furloughed or whatever.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
not
I've
doing
got
anything.
nothing going on.
Nothing, mate. I got nothing. Cool. Let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping before we get into these 3 movies. Another reminder, we got our poll, our May poll pick posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're going to be talking about in May. The theme for May is horror comedies. The movies you can vote between are going to be Shaun of the Dead, Young Frankenstein, and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Last time I looked...
Bob?
Oh!
How those numbers looking, Bob?
You got to ask me.
Oh, asking is all part of the game.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is besting Shaun of the Dead by a single vote. Young
Wow.
Frankenstein is falling pretty far behind.
Oh, Rip Heidelberg. Sorry, my guy.
That's
So, my guy.
I mean, there's no
Yeah,
outcome
there's
to this
no
that
loser
seems
here.
fair because I want all of them to win
Yeah.
so badly.
They're all good.
I feel like we will eventually talk about all of them. It just might
I
take
was-
a while.
blown away that we had never covered Shaun of the Dead. I thought for sure, like, that was one
It's
of our
always been
first...
a back burner choice.
Man, I thought for sure.
Always.
Shang of the Dang. Well, we might be talking about it. You never
Shaun
know.
of the Dang, damn.
Mhm.
Shang of the dang.
It's a stretch.
Unclear.
Yeah,
Unclear what that
I don't
means.
think anybody would know what you're talking about, but that's okay.
Well, we got the old 10. In other Patreon news, we have not 1 but 2 brand new Patreon supporters. We got to give mad shouts out to Sydney G and Jamie Exotic.
Woo!
Thank you guys for signing up
You know
on
what
the
we gotta.
Patreon and showing us some love.
You know what we gotta do. It's time for a tradition.
This just
It is.
in.
Slap my ass!
And one more.
One more.
Slap my ass!
Slap me in the ass, please.
That's
Inside
our
of
straight
the
chillin'
ass.
salute for those uninitiated.
That's what your money pays for. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Slapping
Thank you,
ass.
guys. Thank you
Yeah.
for helping us keep DJ Elzebub's ass nice and cherry red.
Pert and pink.
Yeah, that too. Juice, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
So speaking of Patreon, if you do follow us at the newest $10 level, which is, of course, the hashtag hard with us level, you are going to be getting some new minicast very soon from Shaboy, talking Castlevania 3, talking Tiger King. So if you want to get on that, it's coming
El
up.
Tigre Jefe.
Yeah, El Tigre Jefe is coming
Oh,
to
yeah.
you in your ear hole. Kingdom 2 will be coming very soon as well, and Kingdom 1. I'm going to cover those separately. So yeah, got that coming out. Bob, you got some mini casts coming out as well.
I do. Yeah, I'm gonna record a show just about like some streaming options that people may not be aware of, because I know a lot of people are stuck at home, can't go outside, can't socialize. So I'm going to recommend some stuff on like Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Shudder.
And that's going to
that
be
you
on the
can-
main feed, right? That has nothing to do with Patreon.
Oh no, I was going to drop it on the Patreon.
Oh, you are? Okay, never mind.
Yep.
Whoa.
So
Just
we
giving
got
away the
all-
farm.
all kinds of bonus goodies coming at you on the Patreon website.
Okay, cool.
Be prepared to be bedazzled.
Be prepared to be bedazzled.
Be prepared.
Also, I have been playing Resident Evil 3, and it is on Twitch. It is awesome. It is really fun. Of course, it scares the shit out of me, which is also a lot of fun. I thank you everyone who's been watching and live chatting with me. It really helps me get through the old tension.
The old tension.
The old tension. I was fighting Nemesis last night. I'm just getting cheered on. Feels good to, especially because at one point I ran out of bullets and I was just knifing him because that's all I had left. It didn't work, by the way. So if you like horror video games, you can tune in at twitch.tv/Straight Chilling Podcast. If you download the app and you follow us, it will like tell you when I'm playing. So it'll say like Straight Chilling's live, and you can watch and chat live if you want. But also the streams stay up after that. So if you can't watch it live, then you can watch it after the fact. And tomorrow is our first Tuesday of April. So you are going to be getting a new Top 5 Tuesday YouTube video. That's on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Straight Chilling Podcast. And I will be talking about my top 5 favorite underrated slashers. So check that out. That'll be coming out tomorrow on Tuesday.
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. Hit that like. Slam that bell.
Slam.
It does help people find us on the YouTubes, which helps people find us on the podcast. So yeah. I think that's about it.
I was trying to guess what 5 slashers you're going to talk about. I think you
You
said
were.
I got one.
You sent a list of like 15. You got like one of them.
So I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Unless they're just like very obvious choices. I was trying to go obscure, but if it's like, Halloween 3.
There's one I understand like why you didn't get it. But the other no, I don't think they're too obscure.
All right. We'll see.
They are underrated though.
See.
Yeah.
All right. Tune in to the YouTubes for Justin's little vidges, his cute little vidges.
Just his little vids.
Just this little bitch. It's Top 5
Little.
Tuesday, Bob. Come on, we need some respect around here.
You know what? You're right. We demand respect as professionals. We
You're not
demand
professional. No, dude.
We
I'd be stroking.
stroking.
Professionals.
Stroking to the left, stroking to the right.
Oh, by the way, this episode is probably going to get out of hand from Shaboy Soju. I'm double fisting the Sojus right now.
And you're making quick work of it, too.
Yeah, this one is, well, it's not halfway done yet.
Here's a preview of the end of the episode. That's Justin.
I hope so. That's what I aspire to.
If you are listening and have no idea what soju is, it's like the sake of Korea.
Yeah. Bob, don't be racist.
To put it, what? It's not racist.
Don't
Oh my
pigeonhole
God.
me.
It's like the Bud Light Lime of Korea.
It's like the White Claw of Justin Toll.
Whoa, Bob.
You're clearly Canadian.
Government name. Sorry, I blew you out there. Blew your spine out. Hey, we got 3 movies to talk about. Let's get into it. We're gonna.
Wait, I think we gotta set this up. Why the hell are we talking about the Blade trilogy? Why would
Catch you fuckers at a bad time.
Let's get this going.
Why would anybody talk about these movies? They are.
This is the horror movie podcast covering.
I don't know.
One of them is 22 years old now. I mean, they have no relevance to today. I don't know why anybody would even be talking about them. However, one of us, one that will go unnamed, purchased this film, had to have it, had to own it last summer, July. I can tell you specifically the day if you need it.
It was all 3. It was all 3. It was a collection.
Had to purchase this and just never watched it. Felt so compelled to own it and yet never watched it. So that person is now being forced to live up to their promise of when they purchased this, of actually watching it. So that is why we're here today.
Can't believe you put me on blast.
That person never promised shit. Okay.
Yeah.
No promises were made. No promises were broken. But we're talking about 3 movies today, regardless. That's what's really important here.
If there is anything important, it's that.
That's what it is. So we're going to do it. We're going to forego what we've been watching this week because we have plenty to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump into the first feature, Blade from 1998, kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
This might have a real box, Bob. You got it.
Yeah, you should.
I do, but since there's like all 3 movies in one box, the type on the back is so small because it has all the information for all 3 movies.
I'm glad you bought it, man.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm so glad you bought it. I mean, that's that's why it really helps to actually hold it in your hand.
The physical media is not complete without a copywritten blurb, Bob, and we know this.
All right, Blade 1998.
So you're just gonna look it up online, then? You're just gonna stream the back of the box.
I be stroking. Okay. This movie, directed by Stephen Norrington, written by David S. Goyer, starring Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, Chris Christopherson, some other folks. This movie, inexplicably, like the other 2, are 2 hours long. They're all 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Had you fellas seen this movie before, would you recommend people check it out? Randy?
No, I had never seen. I came to a conclusion as I finished watching these movies that I actually don't think that I've seen any of them all the way through, but I saw a majority of Blade 2, not Trinity, which is what I thought I saw. So the answer is no, is the short version. And would I recommend, if you like action movies, you could do worse. I would say that.
And Andy hates action.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
And I licked her asshole a little bit.
Good.
That's the kind of action I like. Have you seen it before? Would you recommend it? Juice?
I had seen this one. I believe it's the only one I had seen before, and I would recommend it. It's interesting seeing it's a little before its time. And for the most part, for a movie that came out in 98, it holds up pretty well outside of it's like graphics and stuff that from the time. But the practical stuff that they do for this movie, actually, I feel like holds up pretty well. And like in a culture that's like just dripping with fucking superhero movies, this one is not too bad amongst
the culture.
Yeah, amongst the bunch. I feel like this one actually surprisingly kind of holds up pretty well. So, and for the time, a superhero movie about vampires that was rated R for the time. I mean, man, that's pretty significant in my book. I don't know.
So you're going on record saying this movie was ahead of its time.
Yes, it is ahead of its time.
Okay.
So I would recommend you check it out.
I don't agree with that statement.
This is great. I love when we disagree. This is great.
I love when we disagree.
This is going to be a lot of
We're
fun.
always on the same page.
No, yeah, this movie, it's not bad. This is, I would recommend, generally speaking, that you check it out because it's fun. It's a popcorn flick. It's very, all of these movies have a big problem, I think, and that problem is that it's just, they're all thumbs. They're very clumsy. It's like nonsense dialogue followed by an action sequence, and then nonsense dialogue followed by an action sequence. But if you're cool with that, then you're cool with it. This movie I had seen before. Actually, I remember watching this in the movie theaters with my parents. They took me to see it when I was 10 for some reason.
Son, this is how babies are made.
I remember
They get sucked off by vampires.
They get sucked off by vampires,
Yep.
and then they get smoked. That's what my mother told me when I was 10 years old. I remember watching that opening sequence where they go to like the rave and it's like raining blood or whatever, and I was like, so that's what parties are like.
That's exactly what parties in the 90s were like.
Precisely. Not enough Zima though.
I can't wait to talk about the 90s.
We're gonna do it.
All right.
So yeah, I've seen it before. I would recommend it. Also, we should recommend, or we should state, I guess, if you're unaware, this is based off graphic novels. You know, comic books. I've never read any of them.
Yeah, me neither.
Comic book.
It's a comic book character created by a man called Wolfman.
Uh-huh.
So
his name is Wolfman?
Yes.
Legally?
Yes. As far as I know.
Illegally? He's breaking the law to go by that name.
Marv Wolfman.
Whoa.
Wolfman. Okay. Have you read any of those, Randy? Juice?
I have not. That was not on my purview, and I was a comic book collector child.
Samesies. All right. Well, we're gonna drop that spoiler warning on Blade. We're gonna get into it, and then we're gonna tackle these movies one at a time. So if you haven't seen this movie before, curious about it, pause the podcast, check it out, come back, listen to our thoughts. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
You've been warned.
So it's not just Blade, because I recently rewatched The Matrix, which came out a year later in '99.
Mm-hmm.
And then this comes up again in Blade 2 that we'll talk about. And I remember, too, from Buffy. So this is like a late 90s thing that they were trying to push. The whole, like, gothic leather rave thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
the Zion rave thing?
But not even Zion. Like, in the first Matrix movie, like, there's, like, supposed to be, like, these badass, like, partiers or whatever that are just, like, lame-ass white dudes and, like, black leather long coats and shit. Like, I don't know why, like, that was, like, the thing that was being pushed. Maybe it was, like, a big British thing or something. I don't know.
I mean, raves are, yeah.
But it wasn't just a
Raves
Blade.
were a thing.
Well,
raves were a thing.
But like the gothic with like
yeah.
the mesh like shirts that look ridiculous.
That was part of like the house music movement and shit like that.
Yeah,
and, like,
it just I just want to. It's not just the style of this movie. It's I recently watched Matrix and like
it's a vibe. Yeah,
it was a prominent thing in the late.
It's the Aphex Twins vibe going on.
Yeah. You know what? Who goddamn the Firestarter band. Who the fuck
the
is that?
Firestarter band?
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore.
Kinky Firestarter.
Yeah, who is that? God damn it. They're British. God damn, you know what I'm talking about.
I do know.
It's got the crab on the front. Their album came out in like
Prodigy.
97. Prodigy. That's who I think about when I see these types of parties. I'm like, maybe that's the kind of fucking parties they were throwing back in the day, back in 97, 98.
Well, we were sipping from our goddamn sippy cups.
Yeah.
People were wearing mesh shirts all day.
While I was being born, these dudes were throwing these sick-ass goth leather
I was born at one of these raves.
Yeah. That Smack My Bitch Up song is
Fuck yeah.
that's like the late 90s encapsulated. That's
I thought it was Let the Bodies Hit the Floor.
Oh,
that's like
Randy.
2001. So no.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
all part of the same
kind of the
wave.
Yeah. So let's get into the plot a little bit here. I think we should trade. Like we should each pick a movie to like hit the plot, like run it down.
Let me do this one because I don't know if I could do the other one.
I could do the other ones.
Okay.
Take it, Jason.
Or one of them.
All right, hang on. Got my snack on.
Okay, smack it up.
A woman, dude, I'm drinking. I gotta stay snacked up. A woman gives birth to a baby, but when she's pregnant, or
Every
like
story starts this way.
when she is going to give birth, she gets bitten by a vampire. Oh no! She goes to the hospital. The mom dies, but the baby is saved. The baby is Blade, who is now half human, half vampire. We are living in a world where vampires can either be created by like turning them, by biting them, or apparently they can be born. So there's like pure blood vampires, and then there's like the vampires that are like turned. So there's like a battle going on there, a power struggle. We have our
part of the same infrastructure. It's not like anybody.
Yeah, they work together.
There's just some ostracization going on.
Yeah. They work together.
Think Harry Potter.
But yeah. We got our boy Deacon Frost, who is a total badass, real cool guy, really cool, not cooter material at all.
And
he does not trim his chest hair one scotch. It is just full blast. I'd be stroking. And so he is a vampire that's turned, and he wants to overthrow the pure blood vampires by like resurrecting this like entity. I don't know, this like god.
The blood god.
Yeah, the blood god.
Entity.
And he needs Blade's blood to do it because he's like the Daywalker, since he's like a half human.
It's just part of the prophecy that he and he alone has deciphered.
Yeah, and he's
through
like
computers,
the
because
chosen
computers
one.
are new.
Yeah, so computers are a thing now in this world. Vampires are using them. There's this, it opens up with this crazy rave, which is actually a really cool opening scene, I think, where Blade...
So, have you concluded the plot? We're getting through the plot real quick.
Okay. So he does resurrect the entity. He kills a lot of like the head vampires. Blade has a partner, and they have concocted, and also he saves a doctor woman who works with like blood specifically.
She's a hematologist.
Yeah, they create a like a weapon
Serum.
against the vampires that like coagulates their blood or something, like makes them explode.
It causes their blood to like expand into like it all. Yeah, it all coagulates at the same time,
and they explode.
Yeah, which
it
would
causes
kill
them to explode.
Their
blood explodes,
which would kill anyone, not just vampires. Like that's not like a vampire. Like
but vampires are harder to kill.
Whatever. So they explode. It looks not good.
Tell him it's open season on all suckheads.
Yeah. Ultimately, there's a showdown between Blade and Frost, and Blade comes out victorious. He is the winner. Oh, and his partner Whistler dies in the process.
Yeah, his partner gets sucked off by a vampire.
Yeah, sucked off by a vampire.
And then
tortured and sucked off.
Yeah, tortured.
He
sucked
definitely dies.
Yeah,
he
dies off screen.
He shoots himself. He shoots himself.
Yeah, because Blade is too weak, or like loves him too much, or whatever.
Yeah. So
however you want to look at it.
That's the main plot. So yeah, let's get into the nitty gritty.
All right.
Yes.
So here's the thing that I took from this movie. Like just overall, I was not like this is not a movie series that ever really like called to me particularly. But having watched this one in particular, I like this one, I think, and I think this is the reason why. It's because this movie is 100% a blaxploitation movie, just made for a then modern audience, and using like super. This is in the vein of like Blackula, Blackenstein, that sort of thing in my mind, because
Really?
because it's Wesley Snipes, like a badass black dude doing badass things, killing off the police, killing off rich people, all of whom are white, killing off like all these like succubuses, these fucking vampires who suck the blood dry from the populace.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what Shaft did. That's what Dolomite did. He's like going after the fucking people that are keeping him down, the people who want to kill him and want to kill want to bleed people of their life force. Like, to me, there's something. Yeah, he's going after them, and he's like doing the one-liners. He's absolutely badass and completely infallible. He's like, if you think you got an edge over on Blade, you are wrong. You are just wrong.
Nice pun.
Yeah, I guess
nice.
So. But that's not even where my head's at. But I love that about it, because it's like, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of that at the time. They did redo Shaft with what's that fucker's name? Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson.
Sam Jackson did it, and then I don't know if there was a whole lot else that was like borrowing from that vein, but this was at a time when the 70s were the throwback era of the day. Like, just like now it's the 90s and early 2000s, and it's 20 years back.
Yeah.
So 20 years back for them was the late 70s, when those kind of movies were huge. And I think that was a huge draw, at least for Wesley, who was definitely playing it with that level of like charisma and sexual, like he's very like, I thought for sure there was going to be multiple sex scenes.
Yeah, there were none. There's never a sex scene in any Blade movie.
Yeah, and in the trivia sections, which I did read for all these movies, I think every single one of them had one at one point. I don't know if Wesley's like camera shy when it comes to that shit, but there's some reason where like every movie they cut that a sex scene from the script.
Yeah.
But
Wesley brings it in this movie.
He's a charismatic motherfucker.
He is
out there like carrying the cross for fucking like the disenfranchised.
Yeah,
that's what blaxploitation heroes did in the action role.
That's a good point, man.
I really like that about it, and to me, that's like the strongest plus column for me. And it also, what it did also very well, I think, was it really did have the feel of a comic book to me, and a movie that most comic book movies really don't. Most comic book movies lean really hard into being a film first and then inspired by a comic book second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like sometimes it's a better decision. Like the was it Incredible Hulk with Ang Lee's Incredible Hulk?
Shit,
they tried real hard to lean into that, and it did not work out. But this movie did it in a more subtle way that I think was still over the top and ridiculous and like overblown enough to really work. Everything is connected. The bad guy is the most villainous, most evil, most incestuous bad guy of all time. He just fucking, like, you find out that he is the person who bit Blade's mom, and then Blade's mom is on his side. And
I forgot to mention
really
that.
Fucked. And then she starts, like, hitting on her adult son.
Yeah.
And, like, getting real close in his face, like they're going to make out. I'm like, oh, my God, where is this going? And then he has to kill his mom, and then that's the last you ever hear about his mom in the whole series, which I thought was crazy. But it's this whole thing where, like, this person has done everything specifically to Blade and to the populace at large. And, I mean, that's comic books and that's blaxploitation. I love that. So,
yeah, Bob was, like, questioning me, like, why I thought it was ahead of its time, so let me defend myself. However, in that kind of point, then it's, like, behind its time, or it's taken inspiration from something like 2 decades before. But in my opinion, like looking at like the atmosphere of today, so this is a comic book movie. It is a Marvel property, and they're like going to be redoing it soon. And when I'm thinking about like it, like at the time, the biggest superhero movies were the Batman movies. So even in the late 90s, but you had like Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, they came out. So this is before like Spider-Man, before the X-Men movies, by a couple years.
Well, this movie, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah. So, but like just thinking about the approach that this film took from the comic book series, it's an R-rated film starring a black man as a hero. And like and they don't include sex scenes, which you're right, is kind of like surprising or whatever. It's all about the action and the violence and, like, of course, you know, his crazy one-liners, you know, motherfucker and stuff like that. But when you're thinking about how we've seen comic book movies progress since, like, okay, let's say like Iron Man really set off like, we're gonna take this like more seriously or whatever. So they made like more serious movies, but they're really toned down still, like, for kids, you know, like they're all PG-13, until people got tired of that. And then what came out, like, oh, like a Deadpool or like a Logan or something like that, where it then again it becomes about the violence. It becomes about the things that you see in comic books.
You did have like more gritty superhero movies at the time, like Darkman comes to mind, but those were not major properties. And even Blade wasn't, by most people's accounting at that time, a major property. But
I feel like it even like tried, like Spawn came out a couple years later. I feel like it tried to inspire that early. I feel like what we have experienced now 20 years after this movie was made, like with Deadpool coming out and like Logan and shit like that, I feel like this was like trying to do that at the time. Like, I feel like it inspired like a Spawn to come out. Of course, like Spawn fucking sucked and shit like that. But like, I feel like it was trying to make comic book movies like for adults who at the time had already grown out of their childhood, but still appreciated that culture. And it was just 10 years too soon.
Can I tell you about, I read an article, God, I'm gonna have to look up what it is and put it in the show notes, but there's this article I just read about the series and about its like legacy or so forth. And it was interesting because it was talking about how this movie is like often like neglected and overlooked, whereas like something like Black Panther, which was also a huge movie, also a leading superhero who was black, like is touted as the first black superhero movie, and that's just not true.
Exactly, yeah.
That's just not true. And so in that regard, I think you're right. But it's also like a thing where this movie was kind of this was a shot in the dark for Marvel, because at the time, Marvel had just 2 years before gone through Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They had just been bought out by the owner of a toy store, Toy Biz, so one of the big major toy outlets at the time. And they were like, we got to sell toys. We're going to do it by making movies. But then, like, the comic books had just released the, what is that? Is it the Vertigo line? No, that's DC. Whatever, they're darker-edged versions of characters that most people have forgotten about, which included the Punisher, which I did read as a kid, the reimagined Punisher. I can't believe I forgot this sub-label, but... and then this movie, and then Blade, and then the Inhumans, and a bunch of like sort of like C-tier superhero types were brought back. Oh, Daredevil came back and became like gritty 90s gritty superheroes. And this movie is based off of that predilection, because people were fucking not interested at the time in superheroes in tights in real life. They wanted to maybe see that in the comic books, but more than anything, they wanted to see superheroes taken seriously, because that had not really been done on a larger scale. And this movie is one of the first times that, as far as I know, that happened. And I think that's really fucking interesting, because now those sort of things are taken for granted. Where like for years it's been like, God, another gritty reboot of this, another gritty take on that. Do we need to see the banana splits go be evil? Like, do we need to see this shit? And but the truth is that there was a time where you couldn't get beyond, like, with a superhero or with a property that was traditionally seen as a child's property, taken to a level where it could be taken seriously by adults on any level, even on like a silly action movie level.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let it happen because it was too much of a shot in the dark. They knew that in their minds, in the creatives' minds, or the CEO of Marvel or whoever else, in their minds, it was like, these are for kids, so we cannot forsake the kids in pursuant of something else. But Blade changed that.
Yeah.
In terms of film. And, you know, Spider-Man took that back, and then Spider-Man was the one that really blasted that whole thing off. And then Iron Man really blasted off the idea of like an in-shared universe that could have multiple stories. But it all kind of started with Blade. Like X-Men hadn't even come out yet. Like X-Men, they made a joke like, oh, what would you prefer, yellow spandex? That famous dumb joke about them. Like they're wearing dumb leather. It's no different, but people at the time were happy to see that on some level, not everybody, on some level, as opposed to what the 90s made-for-TV fucking Fantastic Four movie or Nick Fury movie that had come out with fucking David Hasselhoff that was pure garbage. Like, that comic book nerds were happy to be like taken seriously, adult comic nerds. So I just think that's a really interesting take on the whole franchise.
But how much of this the success of this trilogy do you actually give to it being like a recognizable property? Like, how many people are going to watch Blade because they read the books and they're a fan of the books? Or how many people are going to watch?
That's why it's so effective. Because it's kind of a contra.
I don't argue that point, but I argue the point against Justin saying this is ahead of its time because it's taking this like comic book IP and like turning it into this franchise. Really, I just think the point that I would try to make is that it's like, it's not ahead of its time, it's just of its time. It's like perfectly of its time.
The style is kind of its time, but in terms of comic book film, it was kind of ahead of its time. Purely because it was taking comic book heroes seriously.
Bob, if you consider the movie that kicked off the Marvel universe, that kicked off this whole trend of Iron Man, honestly, who the fuck knew who Iron Man was when Iron Man came out? Like, the success of Iron Man is
I feel like way more people are familiar with that name than they are Blade.
But it's not solely based on like the comic book properties of Iron Man. It was because of like the success of the movie that then people knew who Iron Man was. Like, now it's a household name. At the time though, like X-Men was huge, Spider-Man, Batman, like Superman, like Iron Man was not a staple superhero that was known by all. Like, the success of the Iron Man movie was not because it was about Iron Man, the comic book hero.
Batman,
like,
you could say that partially was.
Batman, absolutely. Like Superman, absolutely. Not Iron Man. And that was part of its success. It's like, oh my God, we are able to take this like kind of almost like not obscure, but not like a household staple name. Yeah, fairly.
Are you talking about Iron Man or are you talking about Blade?
I'm talking about Iron Man. So like I'm kind of going against Bob's point of saying like just because Iron Man's a staple now, like when it came out it wasn't, and it's kind of the same thing with Blade. Like, sure, like the people that like the success of Blade isn't necessarily because it was a comic book movie like people go to see, but that doesn't negate its importance or success in the same way that Iron Man doesn't.
No, I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying it's not like, I don't see it as breaking new ground in any way, really. I mean, I guess comic book movies were made previously to this, but I mean, they more or less took in a pre-existing IP because I feel like it was convenient to do so, and they made an action movie that fit the time tonally. Like, you know, the year before The Matrix came out, you know, it's like it's pretty similar.
After. Matrix didn't come out till 99.
It rode a few different waves.
Right.
And this movie, and it wasn't, like, in terms of IPs, like, Iron Man is way better known than Blade was at the time of this movie coming out.
I agree.
For sure.
For sure.
But
I don't know. I don't see this as, like, breaking new ground.
The way it broke new ground is not in so, I wouldn't say it's breaking new ground in terms of it's like a new bar or something for superhero movies, but it is breaking new ground in terms of it opening the door for things like X-Men, opening the door for Spider-Man. It opened the door for that wave of superhero movies. Without this movie's success, I don't think those movies get made because they couldn't transcribe a yellow tights-wearing man with claws on his hands into an audience, a broad audience,
a believable
at the time. So they saw, okay, so this works for people. That they knew that like dark Batman worked with. Batman was dark to begin with. In this movie, they took like the leather, like house music ass approach. You know, like, well, maybe we could apply that to like the costumes of X-Men, and then
I don't know. Like, I do think this movie came out before The Matrix. This movie came out a year before The Matrix. Came out before Spider-Man. Came out before X-Men. Okay, so talking about ahead of its time. So what is comparable as far as like superhero movies that people took seriously? The only thing I can think of in the 90s and even coming beforehand in like the late 80s is Batman, okay? Even if you compare this movie to Batman Forever, dude, you have Jim Carrey still rolling around in green tights, still rolling around, and still PG-13, shying away from the gore, no cussing, like still designed to
Batman was PG, wasn't it?
Maybe, but Batman Forever was PG-13 because they had like some sex scenes and stuff. but still this like PG-13 Batman Forever still feels like it was made to make toys, whereas Blade feels like
it's an R-rated movie.
It's an R-rated movie that is using an existing comic book. I feel like that is breaking. Like Batman Forever is the only thing I can compare it to, and this movie is very distinct from that.
I think this movie has earned its place in the pantheon of the growth of superheroes as a powerhouse of the medium, and I think that it deserves some conversation in that regard, especially in terms of like it being like, as far as I know, the first black superhero that was put on film for major audiences.
Shaq, man.
Oh, I forgot about Steel. But that was definitely a kids movie. And this vein of
that
Shazam,
was definitely a kids movie, yeah.
So most, and even like you had Superman and Batman up until like the mid late 90s. It was those two things, and then everything else was either.
Well, The Crow predates this too, which is similar in tone.
If you're gonna like ding Blade for not being recognizable property, you got to do the same for Crow.
Yeah, no, I'm not dinging it. I'm just saying
like,
that
in terms of the
people
point
aren't. Yeah, I'm just saying like people aren't really showing up because they're like huge Blade fans. That's
right. It's the same
point.
It's the same. Yeah. I agree with that, and it's not. You're right. Like the audience, some audiences did, I'm sure, but this movie had broader appeal than that. It was riding the house techno leather daddy wave. It was riding the absurd, over-the-top action wave, and also an increasing interest in like vampire-y sort of gothic horror stuff that had sort of subsided since the late 80s, I feel like. Because there wasn't, except for Bram Stoker's Dracula, I don't think the early 90s, well, no, maybe I'm wrong about that.
It made vampires sexy again, you know?
Yeah, again.
Yep. As did Twilight.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank God for Twilight.
All right.
Yeah. It's an interesting fucking movie though, and like the action scenes are pretty damn good. Like it's very much of its time, where it's like the highly choreographed like knife scenes or whatever. It like in the same way that like the early like episode 1, episode 2 of Star Wars were like highly choreographed. But the cinematography in this movie, I would argue, is better than those movies in the action sequences. And then you have the real like ching in the plated armor is the visual effects, because they are so dated, and it's not really their fault, because it was at a time when like people had their minds fucking popped in half because Tim Allen went down a fucking pipe in somebody's roof in the Santa Claus.
Now
people did not know how to handle their shit.
Man, it's so unfortunate too, because some of the visual effects in this are cool, like the hacker vampire that's like huge and fat who's in the thing, like that. Actually, like
that's like, very Spawn. Actually, I thought that was fucking
It actually holds up like pretty well, and even like when he kills the vampires and they disintegrate, it doesn't look that bad. The worst is when they do the blood explosion thing. That looks like fucking wretched.
The blood god thing was pretty.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. That is a bummer.
And this is also like right before the wave where CGI was like all that budgets went to. Like that was all that you needed was, okay, well, we're going to budget you half as much because we know you can CGI all this shit.
Yeah.
So like, they got a lot of good practical stuff. And Pearl, actually, that's a great point. Like that's a good visual effect. It's again like super comic booky and over the top and absurd, but in a very endearing way, where it feels like one of those fucking like Punisher, one of those comics. I can't remember the fucking imprint, but
I was trying to look it out for you. I couldn't find it either. I wasn't ignoring you earlier.
No. It really is like it feels like I'm reading one of those, because if you go back, I read the Punisher that was it was Brubaker's done that came out on that imprint, and it was like super like people were cursing and all this shit, and like the action was ridiculous, and then you'd have like a character who just like, I remember specifically the Russian, like the character of the Russian who had I think he got hit by a train and his head was removed and all this shit, and he came back like the next year or whatever with a giant muscle-bound female body, and he was bragging about playing with his own titties and shit. That's the level of storytelling we're talking about with this sort of new imprint, and comic fans liked it. It was selling a lot better than the older stuff, so they made this movie, and it follows the same kind of rubric. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up with a little bit of that I kind of endeared to it. But I think that's a pretty strong indicator. And then from there, the movies as they get older, or as as you like Blade 2 before we get to it, and then Blade 3, right, Blade Trinity, they come later on, and they're not so unique anymore. They're competing with the Matrixes at that point. They're competing with Spider-Man and X-Men at that point, and they don't have the same voice for a number of reasons, which we'll get to. But this one in particular, I think, does that well. It is still a dumb as fuck action movie. If you look at it too closely, the plot will start to fall apart a little bit. But Frost is a pretty good villain who does some pretty fucked up shit. And like I said, like it hits a lot of good.
He needs to keep that chest hair clean, is what he needs.
Can we talk about the ending of this movie, please?
Sure.
Oh, what, in Russia? You want to talk about Russia?
No. Before Russia.
Sure.
Yeah, Frost finds this like hidden vampire temple or something, and they need Blade's blood to call this blood god back
12
from
pure bloods.
Wherever. Yeah, the pure bloods are like standing down at the bottom of this temple, and they're like bleeding Blade out, and his blood drops on their foreheads, and lightning shoots out of all these people, and I guess that summons the blood god, whom Frost is able to like embody. And then they have this fight sequence towards the end after Blade gets free, and Blade cuts him in half, and that's probably the worst CG you see in the whole movie. He like cuts his arm off and cuts him in half. Yeah, and he sucks himself back together.
Yeah,
it's
I be smoking.
Yeah, I wish.
And of course, that's when he delivers the greatest line of the whole movie. Randy, do you have that?
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah, I have a question about that line. Why do you think that's the greatest line? Is it just because it's funny?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay, so what's funny about it?
It makes no sense.
It makes no
sense.
Yeah.
That's the answer I was looking for.
The context.
I'm sitting there like, okay, I've always heard that line. I've never seen this movie, and when it finally happened, I was like, what the fuck does any of this have to do with ice skating?
Dude, it does.
Nothing.
Actually, a lot of the times it feels like he just says shit that like literally has
like,
no context.
It's like they took a rejected McBain line from Simpsons and just tossed it in there.
Yeah.
It does not seem like it belongs in anything other than a satire.
No,
of,
it does.
An action movie,
it
which maybe it kind of is. That's the point, but it didn't strike me that way. It seemed like incidentally stupid.
It literally had no. It's actually pretty funny. By the way, we're on our first movie still, and I have opened my second bottle of soju.
Damn! I hope you got a third bottle, son.
I do.
Oh God, yes, come with me.
Yeah, I'm stocked up right now.
So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the movie. Then we see Blade in Moscow or something, and he kills the vampire, and then the credits roll. And it's basically just letting you know, hey, we want to make a sequel. We're leaving it open-ended for another movie. Is there anything else you guys definitely want to touch on here? I know we kind of blasted through it relatively quickly. Anything else you want to mention before we rate it?
Nah.
This movie's longer than I thought it would be. Other than that,
none of them need to be 2 hours long. Not a single one of them.
And I was kind of like, oh my God, I didn't realize that we were watching fucking Lord of the Rings with this
Dude,
shit. I thought it was gonna be like tight hour and a half max movies.
Yeah, 145 tops, but not 2 hours. Nope.
That's all.
Oh, one thing I do want to mention: Udo Kier plays a character in this movie. He's like one of the purebred vampires, like one of the older guys. And Frost, burns him with the sun, and it's like a pretty gruesome scene or whatever. This is a bit of a non sequitur, but I had gone to a film festival in New Orleans. It's called the Overlook Film Festival a couple years ago with a friend, Mike, and Udo Kier was there. And
hashtag humble brag.
I'm not bragging. I'm bragging for my buddy, if anything. But we're at the bar, and Udo Kier was there. I was like in the bathroom. I wasn't even there for this, but I heard about it secondhand. And my buddy walked up to him because he recognized him, but he couldn't place him. He's like, "Hey, man, I've definitely seen you on some stuff, but I can't quite place you." He's like, "Yeah, I'm Udo Kier. I've been in, Blade, et cetera, et cetera." And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. It's really nice to meet you, man." He's like, "Yeah, if you want to come up to my room."
Damn, like for sex?
So that was the implication.
Around here, that means big money.
What did Mike say?
Big money. He said no, thank you, sir. No, thank you.
Sir, you're
You
significantly
just want
older
to
than
split
I
some
am.
blow with the man.
Maybe I was just trying to get him all coked up. Who knows? We'll
trying
never
to suck
know.
him off and turn him into a vampire.
There could have been
It's
ladies
open
out
season.
there.
Must be stopped at every opportunity.
You turned down blow and possible ladies?
Probably.
Possible ladies.
New Orleans.
That's a
boy.
promise I like to hear.
Possible ladies.
It's possible there might be some people of another gender there.
Shouts outs to Udo Kier trying to bang my boy Mike.
Shouts out. I know you're listening.
Oh, God, yes, come with me.
Oh,
That's
what he
gosh.
said.
Let's go and rate this
That's
thing.
appropriate.
Out of 5, Randy, how many suckheads do you give Blade?
So I've like the common logic that I've heard is that the first 2 of these movies are pretty decent and the last one's terrible. I would say that this is not the best movie ever. I did glow a little bit about it, talking about it, and I talked myself into a little bit of a higher score. I upgraded it a little bit. But overall, I would say that this is not, first of all, like if you're gauging this on a horror scale, it's not going to rank that high. And the following ones are going to rank even lower in that regard. But for an action movie, for a movie that's like in the vein of blaxploitation, that's using like tropes of vampirism that hadn't really been explored that much at the time, at least not in a modern sensibility, with a modern sensibility, like I kind of like it. I think that those things work really well. The graphics are not good, but they're a product of their time, so it's hard to ding them too hard. Overall, I would say this is a reasonably enjoyable movie to watch. It is not more than a popcorn movie. Like, it succeeds on the level of a popcorn movie for, somebody who's at an older bracket. It's not for kids either. So, in those, I think it hit its mark is kind of where I'm at with it. I think it is everything it sort of promises to be. It's silly, but it's also entertaining. Like I'm famously anti the Underworld series, and that borrows heavily from this. But all the like hollow parts of it, like the best parts of this movie are Blade himself just being an action star and not being a forlorn mistress of the dark fighting werewolves. Like, I don't give a fuck about it. This is like, should be like this fucking dude who's like just full of quips, and just like the first time I realized, okay, I like Blade is when I forget exactly what happens, but he's like in that first scene fighting a bunch of people, knocking the shit out of people, knocking motherfuckers to the ground. And he like hits this really specific and difficult like shot with his gun or something. And he does this little like fist bump thing to himself, to no one else, just to himself. And I was like, okay, Blade's cool. Blade's just loving this.
Blade is me.
Blade is just living to murder some vampires. And I appreciate it. Yeah, and also like it doesn't really. I also appreciate that they actually did have some restraint with the romantic stuff. I was surprised that they didn't have a bunch of sex scenes or whatever. But overall, I don't care if Blade has a relationship. I don't care if Blade he should be too preoccupied with loving killing vampires to do anything else. This movie comes across that way. As much, and he is like still kind of got like charisma enough to be like obviously a sexual personality. Like he's got sexual tyrannosaurus, but they don't really let him indulge that, and I think that's smart because it makes him. I don't know. I think
they don't exploit his sexual masculinity, which I appreciate because often men are exploited.
Men are so.
We got a lot more to talk about.
Around here, that means big money.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to give this a 3.5, and I would not watch it a bunch probably, but I would watch it again sometime. This is a great movie that you don't have to pay too much attention to get a lot out of.
All right. Juice, what about you?
So, spoiler warning for the rest of this cast. This is my favorite Blade movie, or I think this is the best one. I do think it's ahead of its time. I appreciate where it comes in the timeline of like not just comic book movies, but like Randy said, like following this, like this is 98. I actually am a big fan of Underworld, even things like The Matrix, and like I feel like there's so many branches that split off from this movie, like action wise, comic book wise, horror wise, even when you're talking about like vampire stuff. I feel like a lot of their sources are from Blade having success, and I really appreciate that because a lot of the franchises that I like Underworld. I like comic book movies. I like movies like The Matrix and stuff. Like I feel like a lot of it is because of Blade's success. And however, it does have its problems as its own movie, and I recognize those. Yeah, the graphics, and yeah, they like talk a lot. They have to explain like a lot of things to you about the world, and it's a lot of telling instead of showing. And I understand that, but Wesley Snipes does like a badass job. He's a great action hero. And even without like the sexual stuff, like right, it is interesting to see like that. Yeah, there were no sex scenes, and I am kind of surprised by that thinking about it now. I don't know. I think it is ahead of its time, and I want to give it props for its success because I think it earned them and I think they're deserved. But still, it's not like a perfect movie and it is flawed. So I'm going to give it a 3-star. Give it a 3-star.
All right.
I can't believe I gave it a higher score.
Yeah.
I guess I just got talked myself into being pretty amped up.
I could be
Pretty
talking to giving it's like a 3.5, but it is like it's 3.5. Like that's higher than average.
I give it?
Well, hang on. I want to justify my score a little bit.
The soju's flowing, Bob.
Now that Randy's brought it up specifically, it's just like you can't recommend this to a lot of people though. Even though it is very influential, it's still to like a very niche kind of people.
Catch you fuckers at a bad time.
Rob, what do you think about the movie?
That's what I said. Bob, let's let you.
Is it
talk
my turn now?
What's
Can I go?
what's your
Oh,
score?
Bob, are you upset?
Thank you.
Bob can't hang with big dogs. That's the problem.
Here's Bob.
Hello, gentlemen.
That's Bob very quietly trying to interview.
I'm just gonna start talking over you guys. I didn't like this quite as much as y'all, but we're relatively close. I think I'm gonna come in with a 2.5 for this one. It's fine for what it is. There's some pretty solid action sequences, but generally speaking, the plot's kind of dumb. I mean, the plot for all three are kind of dumb, really. We'll get into that. There's some questionable graphics, specifically towards the end of the movie. There's a lot of just insane info dumps, which is kind of problematic. And also, it's 2 hours long. It does not need to be 2 hours long. There's a lot of filler in here. I think you probably could have trimmed and made it much tighter. It's fun, though. Generally speaking, it's a fun, dumb action movie. And the opening sequence of this movie is like the best sequence in any of the Blade movies. That like rave situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my favorite.
They try to recreate it, but they don't do a good job.
No.
Something just occurred to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why this didn't occur to me before, but the obvious sex scene in the movie Blade is when Lady Doctor Hematologist lets him suck her blood just before the big final fight.
I guess, yeah.
No, they definitely, dude, watch that scene. Even when I was watching, holy shit, this might as well be a sex scene. I just forgot about it in the moment. But yeah, like she's like, keep going. And she's arching her back and shit. That shit is a sexual stand-in for sure.
Suck my blood, bitch. Ugh.
Damn.
Gross.
And it gives him power, and his big response to finishing sucking blood is going something like this.
We will get there.
Let's get there.
Okay, aggregate's going to be a 3.0 for Blade.
Seems fair.
Yes. Let's go ahead and let's get into the Rotten Tomatoes real quick on this bad boy.
Speed run.
Certified fresh to death.
All right, I'm gonna have these two gentlemen try and guess what the percentage positive rating is on RottenTomatoes.com for the film Blade out of 100%. So, Rob, why don't you give me out of 100? What do you think the critics gave this out of 102 critics?
Critics, I'm gonna go with a 65.
65. Juice, what do you think?
Ooh, that's a good guess, Bob. 70. I'm gonna slightly go higher.
70. Bob, you're gonna take it. This one's 55.
What?
Ooh,
55 certified non-fresh. This is a spurled.
Bob is a man of the people.
This is a spurled.
Well, of the
hater.
critics, the
You're a man
elite.
of the critics, the elitist fucks, the vampires.
Sure,
Like
boy's
us.
a vampire.
We have,
That's
now
what
we
I heard.
have just under 500,000 audience ratings for this. So let's
Wow.
see if you guys can guess out of 100 the audience score. Juice, we'll start with you this time.
I think the people like it more than the elitist, so I'll give it 75.
75. Okay, Rob.
I do represent the liberal elite. I just want to go on record here
Whoa.
and say that.
We can fix that quicker. God makes poor folks.
The people are sheep, so they probably will rate this higher. I think the people probably gave this an 85.
85. Bob, you're gallivanting. Did you no good?
Damn.
This is a 78%.
Yeah.
Juice takes it.
Man of the
78%
people. Soju, baby.
The critics' consensus, which I forgot to do, is as follows. Though some may find the plot a bit lacking, Blade's action is fierce, plentiful, and appropriately stylish for a comic book adaptation. And I also want to read this. I don't know how this person came to this conclusion. Has the comic book movie breached the end of the line? The glumly familiar, been there, done there aspect of Blade certainly suggests so. And this was written in 2015. Did this person not? Did you not know that this came out in 98?
This is it. This is it for comic book movies. Nothing after this.
I love that.
I've never seen somebody be so wrong in so many ways.
Especially knowing you
Yeah.
have
Yeah, you have years of, like, this
You
person
have-
clearly did not read the back of the box. That's all.
you have 17 years worth of knowledge before you wrote this movie.
That's
It
fucking
proves that you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, it's time to take this guy seriously.
Reach the end of the line. They'll
Good
never make a
Lord.
comic book movie after this.
Never again.
Nobody wants to see more superheroes on film. No.
Juice, do you have any trivia for this?
I do. Let's do it quickly. Or you guys said you wanted to talk about Wesley Snipes a little bit. Anything specific in this?
Not. It's the third one that
Okay.
that really comes into bigger.
So there was one that I found interesting. Here it is. David S. Goyer. I'm not sure who he plays. Maybe that's the director.
He's the writer.
He's the writer. Okay. Explained in the DVD commentary that when Karen Jensen wakes up at Blade's hideout after her attack and rescue by Blade, the script had her discover a jar with a vampire baby in it. The baby would be alive and used by Blade and Whistler as a guinea pig for testing out weapons to fight vampires. The studio,
It is very bizarre indeed.
The studio, however, found this concept to be disturbing and refused to allow it.
Well,
I like that trivia because
We're gonna get arrested.
it shows like how far like the directors and even like not the writers were willing to kind of push this movie. Like it was already R. So yeah, that is some fucked up shit.
it's shocking because the whole point of this movie is to boost toy sales. Marvel is owned by a toy business at this time. So it's fascinating to me that this movie even, not only that it's the one that sort of like paved the way for the next rung of superhero movies through its success, but also that they made this superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's just surprising.
Jet Li was offered the part of Deacon Frost, but opted to do Lethal Weapon 4 instead.
Stephen Dorff did it right.
I haven't read this, so I'm just gonna read it. I'm going in blind.
All right.
I'm
Welcome to my world, baby.
The scene where Karen and Deacon are talking about the cure for vampirism initially ran a bit longer and answered the question of how the vampires would feed if everybody was turned into a vampire. They would keep some humans alive in giant blood bags to harvest them. Hey, oh, that comes up. Spoiler warning. The bags can be seen in a doorway during the scene and later played an integral part in the plot of Blade Trinity. So apparently that was their plan all along.
Yeah, they kind of threw a lot against the wall in this first one. I mean, it's not surprising that they trimmed something that they would later use because
they did, because there was a lot.
One piece of this plot from this movie you could have branched it out into the whole movie.
Yeah, they did a lot of world building in a short amount of time. Well, not super short, but
not short enough.
Stan Lee originally had a cameo that was ultimately cut from the film, so that's a bummer because that was before it was like a
maybe
thing.
The only one.
Yeah, he played one of the cops that come into the Blood Club during the aftermath and discover Quinn's body on fire. We didn't even talk about that guy, that like hillbilly guy.
Gets his arm cut off like 3 times.
Gets his arm cut off. Yeah.
What is that actor's name? Donald Logue.
He was a pretty good bad guy.
Yeah, I liked him. He's like a Frost's id kind of, like he's just following his dick around, just trying to like be the biggest badass in the room, but not with the smarts.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes was interested in doing a movie adaptation of the Black Panther comics when he was offered the project. He said he was unfamiliar with the Blade comics, seeing more of a connection to blaxploitation heroes of the 1970s. I just approached him as this really cool character where I get to do martial arts and wear a leather suit.
That comes off. I mean, this Blade is Wesley Snipes, and Wesley Snipes is this Blade.
He did. It's interesting talking about like, the first black superhero is Black Panther. Like that was what Wesley Snipes was interested in back in the fucking 90s. So good on him, man. I mean, he knew.
Dude, people really thought, especially because Wesley's been like after it hard, that he would come back as Blade and then be part of the Marvel Universe, which within the realm of the universe as we've seen it, the Blade universe, that could easily be like Jerry retconned in. Like there's nothing you really have to change. You just have to say Blade was in the background the whole time.
Good.
But they chose to go with Maharashi Ali,
which is still great though.
He's a great actor.
Holy
and
shit.
I'm happy to see him.
I'm excited, to see it.
But yeah, Wesley is kind of like he's kind of too inextricable from this property for me right now. And I wonder if that's going to come off. If it's going to hurt the other movie. I don't know.
I will say that I'm going to stop the trivia session because I have to take a massive leak.
Okay, have some more soju.
Yep, I will.
Cool. Should we do the Cooters? Should we do all the Cooters together?
We'll do them all together.
All right.
That seems like
let's do that. We'll save it. Save it for later. All right. Then we're getting into part 2. Blade
Box
2. Yeah, we're starting over. Starting with the back.
What's on the back of the box?
Well,
let me tell you. Blade 2 from the year of our Lord 2002. Directed by Guillermo Del Toro.
Who?
GDT. It's this Mexican director. You've probably never heard of him. You know, he hasn't done a whole lot. He hasn't won any major awards or anything like that. But he's on the up and up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, all right.
Yet again, starring Wesley Snipes, Chris Christopherson, Ron Perlman is up in this, which is nice.
Now, wait a minute. Did you say Chris Christopherson?
Yes.
I see.
I did.
So,
that's what I said.
Whistler, it appears,
didn't
alive.
Didn't die. Or maybe it's just a flashback. I don't know.
Right.
Also,
are we talking Blade 2?
Talking Blade 2, bro.
I think this is the first thing I ever saw Norman Reedus in. He's in this movie as well.
Yeah, I've never seen this movie.
It took me a minute to recognize him.
Yeah. He's a little greasy, and he's not riding around.
He's always a little greasy, truthfully. But he seems extra greasy in this one.
Yeah.
I like the guy. Don't get me wrong, but he's a greasy fellow.
He is, yeah. So Blade forms an uneasy alliance with the Vampire Council in this movie in order to combat a common enemy that is known as the Reapers. It's sort of like the next evolution of the vampire in this movie. It just it lacks a lot of the weaknesses that a typical vampire would have. It seems as though the only way you can kill him is with UV light. So that's kind of roughly where we meet Blade at in this sequel. General Mangs, have you seen this movie before? Would you recommend people check it out? Randy?
I told you no. No, I haven't seen this movie before.
Wait till I ask.
Well, no, I'm sorry, I did. This is actually the one that I kind of did, but I didn't see the whole thing. I must not have seen the whole thing. Because if I did, then I forgot 90% of it. That's what happened. But there was one scene. The one scene I remember from Blade is Norman Reedus, who I didn't recognize as Norman Reedus in my memory, in the big truck outside of the vampire nightclub later in this movie with the UV lights. I remember sitting there and watching this going like, oh shit, what is this? So that's my recommendation line. Oh shit, what is this? This is not as good as the first movie. It is not a very good movie. I would say that they still make some pretty big swings, not pretty big, but like they still make some decent swings at plot. They try and make something work. Everything again is constantly connected. But Blade is sort of like, I don't know, he's kind of a chump in this movie. He falls in love with a vampire, like his most hated enemies, and there's no reason for that to have happened, but it happened. And it's like, if they had done that in the first movie, I don't know. There's something about it where, I don't know, we'll get into it. I'm going to say I don't really recommend this movie. This is starting to follow the line of like Fast and Furious movies where it gets increasingly more ridiculous, and it depends on your ability to accept what you're being shown, your ability to like, I don't know, not balk at everything, which is kind of my go-to. So I'm not big on those kind of like really overblown movies without a whole lot of core. This movie has a little bit less core. So no, not a big recommend for me.
All right, Juice.
I had never seen this one before, and I did not know that this was directed by Del Toro until I went to go look up and see when this movie was made. I was just looking up like what year it came out, and I was
actually,
like,
yeah,
what?
I will say if you like Del Toro, you probably.
I was like, holy shit, Del Toro. This movie felt really uninspired. It felt like it took Blade and tried to make it more serious, I guess. Like, it feels like it took out like all the things that made Blade kind of fun and different, and tried to make it tried to make it more generic, and maybe be taken more seriously, except there's still like some ridiculous shit in this movie. It's a 50-50 on a recommend for me. I would not watch this without being a fan of the first one. Like, there's no point. It's not like an amazing vampire movie. It's not an amazing comic book movie. I'm really like lukewarm just in general on it. So, that's my recommend.
Cool. I disagree for sure. I like this movie probably better than the first one, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing today?
I'm not sitting here saying this is like the greatest movie I've ever seen, but I don't think it's generic at all. I think it does something really cool with vampire lore that I've never seen before up until this movie. It was entirely new to me anyways. There's some dumb... Yes.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, there's some dumb plot stuff going on for sure, like there is in the first one and the third one.
I can't wait to argue with you, Bob.
I think this absolutely has a better villain than the first movie, like no question for me. The effects are better in this movie. I liked it. I don't know. I like a lot of things about it. We'll get into it. Generally speaking,
I'm very interested by the
me too, because I do not agree.
I would recommend you check it out. It's not like a 5-star movie, but I'd recommend you check it out. Yeah, Blade 2. Let's go ahead and drop that spoiler warning, and we'll get into the rest of the movie. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
Mr. Hotcakes has a hot take for you.
I just have one question, and I need you to answer quickly. When you say this movie has a better villain, Who are you talking about?
Yeah, who? Yeah.
I'm talking about like the primary Reaper, the main bad Reaper guy.
So
What is that man's name?
Reaper.
that's unfair.
Okay.
Reaper Reaperton.
Mr. Reapering.
Yeah. Mr. Hotcakes has
Novak,
a hot
I think,
take.
or something?
And the hot take is I think this is the worst Del Toro movie I've ever
Novak.
seen.
Well, you have never seen Mimic.
I haven't, so you're right.
It's the worst what? Vampire movie, period?
No. Worst Del Toro
I'm sorry.
movie
I was
I've
wrong.
seen.
Okay.
This is Del Toro's second American feature. So he as far as like feature length movies goes, he did Kronos, which was a Mexican production. Then he came to America, did Mimic, and there was like some really heavy meddling regarding the studio. They just didn't let him make the movie he wanted to make, so it didn't come out super great. He made another movie in Mexico called The Devil's Backbone, which is really good. So he sort of was able to come back to America, make Blade 2, and it had fairly good success, I guess enough success for him to go on to make Hellboy and Pacific Rim, Hellboy 2, and all the other stuff that he went to eventually make. So I don't know. I like Blade 2. It has like sort of a soft spot for me specifically because it is like it gave Del Toro that like foothold in America and gave him a path to go on to do whatever else he ends up doing. Also, like have you ever seen The Strain, that FX series, The Strain?
Yeah.
It
sort of feels like this is a prequel to that show, which is
Didn't he do that too?
He did.
This is the story behind that. Do you want to know it?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
The story behind that is that he already had the idea for The Strain at this point.
I believe it.
In order to do this movie, he was like, all right, well, I'm going to borrow some ideas from that, but I'm going to change it enough to make it like Blade appropriate.
Yeah,
and
that
then
makes sense.
Like change it enough to where I can still do my own project later on. So
I was even lukewarm on that series, like how
I
it
kinda
all
was
played
too,
out.
to be honest
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't amazing, but I always enjoy like a strange take, like an abnormal take on the vampire character, much like Kronos.
Sparkling vampires.
No, not
you
that.
like that take, huh?
No, like Kronos.
No,
Kronos is great.
I know.
Oh my God. So my point being, yes, I like seeing Del Toro's work starting here and evolving into other properties. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's a better villain. I absolutely wholeheartedly believe that.
Okay.
Also, when they get into like the anatomy of the creature itself, it's a little like more in depth. It's a little more involved in this movie, where like they show you can actually kill like the brain or like the person or the vampire, but the body is still going to do whatever it can do to feed, like unless you burn it. Kind of like a zombie, right? Like you can be brain dead, but the zombie is still trying to feed. It's like sort of blending.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bob, why don't you give us the rundown of what this movie?
Yeah,
Why don't you give us the summary since you're already kind of going through it.
You like this
All
one.
right. I do. Like I said,
before you do, I would say that it would be real. The reason I picked Blade 1 is I watched Blade 1 over a week ago because we had agreed to do this. I watched Blade 2 like a few days ago, and most of it already escaped me. Like I find it so bland and so uninspired that most of the finer details are just completely lost on me.
Okay. Well, it's not that. I mean, the plot's not that crazy, but it does do some retcon stuff that is I didn't like very much. Essentially, the movie starts off with this next evolution of vampire that is known as the Reaper, and it's this dude wearing a hood. He looks like his chin is split in half. He walks into this blood donation facility that's run by vampires, and he knows this, and he's there to, quote, donate blood for the vampires to feed on. He goes in there, they go to draw blood, and he just ends up killing them all, and you don't quite see how he kills them, but he kills them all. So we've got this like creature that we're following that is murdering vampires, and that causes the normal vampires from the original movie that Blade is hunting to come to Blade and offer a truce. And they kind of team up because they now have this common enemy that it's in both of their interests to try and defeat together. So that's kind of the setup of the movie here. They do retcon Whistler dying. Turns out he's still alive in this movie. Which is
yeah.
And they just like tell you that. Like the movie starts off with this like voiceover in Blade's talk. He pretty much just like, straight up tells you that. I'm like, okay, well, cool. Randy, we can hear you typing, by the way. If
I'm not typing.
You didn't.
That's me trying to open a chocolate bar.
Oh my god!
I am desperately trying to.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I am I cannot get it open.
Oh my gosh. Candy bar stand.
Get down off the crossbot built for me here.
Dude, if I'm gonna drink all this soju, I gotta like keep my snacks.
Gotta eat a candy bar. I am 30. I'm in my 30s.
Bob, I'm 21. Okay.
Yeah. So they have this new mutual enemy, and so Whistler is alive. Norman Reedus' character, who he goes by Scud. He's also like on the Vamp team, the Blade team.
Scud, the disposable assassin, for those keeping track.
There you go. So Blade's squad has gotten a little bit bigger, and there's like this whole squad of vampires that have been assigned to work with Blade, who were originally training to kill Blade.
God, those motherfuckers are so fucking lame. Holy Jesus.
I agree.
They're lame, but they're like
no, they're lame.
There's
no
female love interest, and then there's other guy, and they can now go out in the sun because they wear full protective gear. So Daywalker thing, who gives a fuck? And they show up and they do a whole big fight for like 10 minutes, and then they're like, hold on, we're not here to fight. We're here as truce.
It's very stupid. I completely agree. I don't know. The characters on the Vampire Squad, they all feel like incredibly comic book-y to me. It seems to fit the bill, more or less, even though
their names are dumb as shit.
They are very dumb. Ron Perlman's character is kind of... Reinhardt, yeah, he's sort of like the main guy who challenges Blade up front. They don't get along very well. Kind of to jump to the end of the movie.
He's a racist or something?
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, he does. He like, there's some trivia about this too, but he's the one that asks Wesley Snipes, the incredibly black man, if he can blush.
Oh. Jump to the end of the movie. Anyways, we come to find out that the Reaper, the quote evolution of the vampire, is actually designed by the vampires. They're trying to create a version of themselves that has no weaknesses whatsoever. And they kind of got most of the way there, except for the UV light. That's the only way to kill these guys.
It's the UV light, and their metabolism is so fast that they have to feed within a day or they die.
Right. Yeah, they feed constantly. Also, turns out Scud is a turncoat. He's a traitor.
You didn't see that. Raise your hand if you didn't see that coming. Nope, we all saw it. That shit was so plainly obvious from the jump. It was like, okay, Whistler doesn't like this guy. As soon as Whistler comes back, he starts giving the guy shit. And the guy's like, whoa, what do you want? Fuck you. And then he gets popped in the face and doesn't say anything about it. And then later on, he's like, I'm kind of liking this guy now. It's like, no. This guy's clearly the fucking Contra. He's the guy. He's the sleeper cell, the agent.
The Reaper ends up killing his father, the guy who sort of like genetically engineered him.
It's like another vampire leader, like I guess.
Yeah, another one of
killed
the
them all before,
council,
but
or
not enough, I guess.
Yeah, one of those guys. And then the vampire love interest, the girl, she ends up getting hurt, and she wants to like see the sunrise or something because she's never seen the sunrise before she dies. So yeah, Blade takes her outside, sunrises, yada yada. And there's another like tagged scene at the end of this movie where there's like this dude who walks into like a peep show or something, but it's like a vampire peep show. I don't really know exactly what it is.
The vampires.
Yeah, and the window goes up instead of yeah, exactly. The window goes up instead of like a woman being there. It's Blade, and he's like, "Oh, what? You thought I forgot about you? Who the fuck is that guy?"
I don't know who that guy is.
I don't know who that
I
is.
forgot about him as an audience member. I was like, okay, well that guy mattered at some point, but I don't remember.
I guess. I don't know. That's more or less the plot of this, anyways. There's a lot of action sequences involved. There's a lot of like UV grenades going off. I don't know. What do you guys think?
To me, I'm going back to a rant I already had, but like the introduction to Nisa, and it wasn't Reinhardt, it was another person that came through or whatever, who, when they start fighting immediately, and they fight for so long before revealing, oh no, we're not here to fight. Like that's emblematic of the problem with this movie. This, like the first movie had like insane action sequence or whatever, but they made sense within the context of the movie. This movie starts falling prey to the same action movie tropes that exist in every action sequel pretty much.
You know,
which is
I feel
that action has to happen or the movie won't get made. So they just inject ways for action to happen without it.
Absolutely. That was like a studio note. It's like you got to start the movie off with an action sequence. So they do, and they're like, no, we're not going to fight. We need to team up. But it doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Actually, a lot of the details in this movie don't make a lick of sense. Like when things happen,
a lot of it,
I'm always like, that doesn't make any sense.
Wow,
which is weird because this movie it feels like the tone of this movie is trying to take itself more seriously than the last Blade.
I just don't think it has as much humor in it. Like it doesn't have as much humor about itself as the first one did. Like it's like that thing where like you get like a movie is made and there's no real expectations for it. And then you get a sequel where the expectations are suddenly there. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean. Nobody expected that movie to be a fucking hit. Nobody really thought that it would be like a cultural flashpoint, but it was. And so the following movies, they're like, okay, well, how do we get this lightning back in the bottle? Well, we take all those things, and then they inevitably neglect something that made the first one essential, like, or made it good. And in this case, they ejected a lot of the humor of the movies, and then made Blade less of a badass. Which who wants to see Blade not being a badass? Nobody wants that.
So here's something I want to touch on. In a couple different, God, so many things don't make sense about this movie. The very ending, the whole like reveal or like the moment that you're supposed to, I guess, give a shit about, which I didn't. Spoiler. Is that the Reaper is the son of like the Vampire King guy or whatever, who's like this ancient like Nosferatu almost looking motherfucker. Like he looks crusty as shit.
And the other ones look kind of like Nosferatu too. And I did appreciate that artistic direction.
I did like that choice, but then the woman who Blade is supposed to fall in love with, who's like a vampire hunter or whatever.
No, she's a vampire.
Or no, she is a vampire who hunts Blade. Sorry, is what I meant.
Okay.
She is also the daughter of the guy, but she has no clue
the Reaper
who this motherfucker is. So I don't understand the significance
of it
like
being a test tube baby. You know, it's like hidden away.
He's not a son.
No, it's like designed by that guy.
But
it's
they
like
try to be like, "Oh, he's your son."
Situation.
Like, but they play it. Even like the verbiage and like
he's like
it's a
Frankenstein thing.
Yeah,
it's a Frankenstein relationship.
I know,
and
but the way they try to play it, it's like, "Oh, it's my father" or whatever. It's like, no.
Yeah, she like, I don't like her character is the one that pisses me off the most because on one hand it seems like pointless fodder for any like okay, this time Blade's got to have a love interest. He's got to. We totally missed that boat in the last one. He's got to have somebody who he wants to fuck. He's got to fuck somebody. He's got to be in for fucking. But they don't really do that. Instead, she just randomly, they cut that scene, and so she's like just randomly in love with him now. These are two people, like this is they're trying to make a Romeo and Juliet story, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense. These are not people that met randomly, fell in love, and then found out they were from tribal families.
Yeah.
They hate each other from the go. She's been training for her whole life to murder him.
Yeah.
And he's like, he killed his own mother for being a vampire.
Yeah.
And now he's just like loose enough with his own fucking motivation that he's going to fall in love with a fucking, I don't know. It strains a little bit. It feels like an injection of something that doesn't make sense organically. Seems like something that had to happen because somebody thought so, but even though it doesn't make sense otherwise, it could have been cut completely.
Also, let me talk about some more dumb shit about this movie. They try to make you be like, oh my God. So Norman Reedus Scud is a turncoat.
Yes.
But the whole thing about this movie is there's this leader / racist Aryan vampire who is Perlman. His name is Reinhardt. God damn, their names are so dumb.
Reinhardt's an okay name.
Right, it's okay. Reinhardt.
It's a name. It's not like Frost or whatever. Snowman. Snowman. Names, so.
Reinhardt has this like kind of scuffle with Blade when they first meet, and Blade puts his bomb on the back of his head. Okay, and he's like, "Oh, you motherfucker! Like that's gonna keep you in line. If you step out of line or you threaten me, I'll fucking blow you up."
Because he's all of a sudden leading a fucking gaggle of vampires into a hunt.
Which doesn't even keep him in line. Like half the time he's trying to murder Blade with a bomb on the back of his head.
Yeah.
Now we find out he's so confident about it because Reedus is a turncoat. He's actually working with the vampires. He's their familiar, and he made the bomb. Okay, that's all fine in itself, except like the next scene is Blade revealing like, "Oh, I knew you were a turncoat, and I'm gonna use the bomb not to blow up the person who poses the biggest threat to me, Reinhardt, which he could have blown up the bomb at any point when Reinhardt was threatening him. He instead uses it to blow up Norman Reedus Scud just to be like, fuck you, because I knew you were a turncoat and I'm going to blow you up.
He's a familiar.
Yeah, it's like, it's just so dumb. It's just like, because Norman Reedus is not a real threat. It's literally just the whole movie like, oh, he's a turncoat. Oh, you have to do a twist. But like
that was them trying to capture the feeling of the first one, and I don't begrudge them for it because I think it would have worked perfectly in some capacity in the first one if he had this. It's that moment where Blade is on top. You think Blade is on the rocks, but he's really got the upper hand, and he gets to reveal it in this action movie like style. They tried to pull that, and like that's a great thing. That's a very Blade thing to have happened. It seems like to me is have him like secretly have the upper hand and be like, oh, guess what, motherfucker? That is a real bomb. Boom. And that's great. But the problem is that it doesn't fucking, it feels manufactured. It doesn't make enough sense within the established rules and governance of the movie to where I felt like it mattered. Like, and the fact that fucking Scud was there in the first place, from the first time I saw Scud, before I knew it was Norman Reedus, I was like, well, this guy's definitely trouble. This guy's not on the level. Like it's so fucking plainly obvious. I'm just waiting for that to drop, and it just undercuts the whole tension of the scene. It's like, oh, he really knows. Oh, it's like I was trying. The only tension I had was like, did they really make Blade this dumb? Because he's already falling in love with his mortal enemy. Is he also going to be fooled by a fucking stringy-haired dipshit who, like, he just brought along with him? Like, there's no reason for like. Nobody wants to see Blade get the best. Somebody get the best of Blade.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. Blade is the badass who always has the upper hand, and even when you think he doesn't, he does.
I think everything about this movie just feels manufactured. Like it was kind of a cool scene visually when they cut the Reaper open, and they're like, "Let's look at him."
I love that his heart was encased in bone. I thought that was cool as fuck.
Well, no, here's what I was gonna say. Like, everything about it though, like, oh, his heart is encased in bone and like you can cut his head off, but it still keeps going. It all just is like you need a new extra badass thing because this is the second one and you can't just fight vampires anymore. You gotta fight something that's harder to kill. It all just feels so fucking cookie cutter, bland ass sequel shit.
Do you guys remember?
It's just like so boring to me.
The opening of Tropic Thunder, where they did the Scorcher movie trailer with Ben Stiller playing an action star, playing like a guy in like oh man, you don't remember this? Is just so funny. It was like the Scorcher 7, Ice Age, or some shit like that. And it's like throughout the course of the movie, you find out that there's been like 7 Scorcher movies, and they've all been like him like rescuing babies with giant guns in the middle of this like volcano, basically volcano world. And then this trailer was that, except it was suddenly an Ice Age instead. And his big one-liner is, "Who left the fridge open?" And it's extremely funny. This movie is the reason that joke exists. This kind of movie.
Yeah, it literally just like
it's aping the first one.
It's not
Blade
a vampire.
Trinity
it's harder to kill. Let's tell you how it's harder to kill. Oh, Silver doesn't.
That's why I like this movie, to be honest.
Why? It's not
the villain. It's an interesting villain. The villain from the first movie is not interesting
for emotional reasons, or
it's literally just because they tell you.
Interesting from
they tell you everything. And
I could describe. So by your logic, I could just describe this movie to you, and you'd be like, "That's a better movie than Blade."
That's interesting.
That's how all of these movies operate. You're not emotionally invested in anyone ever.
I don't know, man. The first one, I'm like, Blade's a badass. I like following Blade being a badass. This movie did not feel that way at all.
I mean, he didn't say anything about people ice skating uphill, I guess.
That's true. I'm not saying the first one is like a fabulous movie by any standard, but it's like, at least I felt something. And in this movie,
I don't know.
Feels like
I guess
standard ramping up, and then standard like, okay, well, we got to inject some sex into there, but they don't quite. And then we got to inject like a twist, kind of, because this was at the time where twists were twists. You had to have a fucking twist. And the twist is, people are all related. Never seen that in a movie before, Star Wars. And then,
Yeah. Blade as a character is sort of like just a generic action star, I guess. There's not a whole heck of a lot. Like, he's got to be badass and occasionally throw out a one-liner. So it's not like, I guess I don't connect like super hard in any of the movies, but a more like original bad guy also kind of helped pull me into the second one a little more.
To me, I guess I liked also to counteract that argument, or to argue against that. I think in Frost is first of all, to Justin's point, Frost's name. Second of all, Frost is like the perfect action movie villain because he is pure fucking evil. Like, he's doing everything for his own gain. He's hiding shit. He's like deceptive. He's a cooter in some capacity, potentially. We'll talk about that later. But
I like the Frankenstein's monster vibe. I prefer it.
The lore of the second one is more interesting, but also Deacon Frost is emblematic of more of that blaxploitation feel that I have, because he's like this guy who is grandfathered into a society where he is the predator and people are the prey, and he's trying to usurp power there. This is like...
Frost just reminded me of like the what's the guy's name? Scott Stapp, the singer from Creed. Yeah. He just reminded me of that fucking guy. And there's nothing intimidating about that fucking guy.
I literally have no idea how you came to that conclusion.
Because he's got like the button-up shirt just like open, like flowing in the wind. It's like straight out of a Creed music video. I don't know.
Like people were buttoning shirts for a long time.
Here's the thing though, like the character of the Reaper, like the main Reaper, I couldn't tell you anything about that person. Like,
he's Frankenstein. And like,
Frankenstein a million times. but only in that what Frankenstein is, and that's the surrounding of how he came to be as a person. I don't ever see him.
Frost.
Oh, hang on. I don't ever see him struggling with I don't see him he literally, the times we see him as a character, let's look at this person as a character, is the opening scene where he literally says I hate vampires and eats them. and then like some sewer scenes where he whispers things that are indistinguishable to us, to Blade, and then at the very end when he just says like, "You're my father, I fucking hate you," or that's it. That's all we get from this character. Like, it's not a character. It's like, it's just
the interesting parts about what's his name, Novak, whatever his name is. The interesting thing about him is this. It's sort of like he's Bub from Day of the Dead. He's like has an uncontrollable thirst for vampire blood. He has to have it, like, and he's on the fucking clock all the time. It's like a really accelerated, like, those things are really like are interesting in and of themselves. I get that, but compared to Frost has an ethos. He's a fascist piece of shit who wants to like purify the world and shit, and that's not what this guy's doing. I don't know. It's more compelling to me to have a character who has nothing to lose and everything to gain. You know what I mean?
I don't think Frost is not. Well, we're just talking about the first movie again. He's not trying to purify anything. He's the unpure one. He's turned.
But he's trying to purify his own existence. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like he's
trying to justify himself.
Yeah, he's trying to. He's like, I'm stronger than these actual pure blood vampires. I should be able to. I'm the most. He's an egocentric egomaniac. Whereas this other guy, he's got like more relatable problems, I guess.
I feel like you could just kick that dude in the nuts and the movie deal. I don't know.
I feel like you could just not give this guy a name, like Reaper. Like, I feel like he could easily be a generic monster. Like, I feel like this guy could not be a character, like not have and it would be fine because he's just a monster. Yeah, he's just a monster that creates more monsters. That's all he serves to be.
Like, if he is just a zombie, like zombie movies exist, Frankenstein movies exist. Those things are like all true. Like, this is an action movie though, and to me, it's a better action movie villain to have somebody with a political stance as opposed to an untenable hunger.
I guess I don't disagree with that point. That's a fair point. I just, as far as like what my interests are, the Reaper fulfills that better, I guess. But yeah, I get you. As far as like an action movie goes,
like even in like the Lethal Weapon movies and shit, like the villains typically have some sort of evil political stance that leads them to do the things they do, or belief that, like, they're Thanos. Like, that's like but that's I don't know. They have just really fucked up priorities, and it all centers around themselves.
Punch that dude right in the dick, and the movie's over.
He definitely needs to keep that chest hair trim. That shit was wild.
With arms wide open.
Dude, I'm not stroking.
We probably need to carry on with the show.
Hey, Bob.
I'm so drunk.
Yo.
What do you give this movie out of 5?
Yeah, let's let Bob go first.
All right. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5.
Whoa.
That's what I'm going to do. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it better than the first one. For all the reasons that I've just said. I'm not going to repeat myself. But yeah, 3 out of 5. That's how I'm feeling. Randy, what about you?
So, I mean, I've shat on this movie pretty hard, but it's really more in rejection to some of your points than it is to, like, my natural feeling. My natural feeling about this movie is that it's not good, but that it's not so aberrant from the first one as to be, like, uniquely bad. It's not good, but a lot of its badness comes from it lacking the things that I liked in the first one. It doesn't have that blaxploitation feel. It doesn't have the blaxploitation villain, or like Deacon Frost was an evil landlord, slumlord sort of character that would be in Dolomite or some shit. Whereas in this movie, you have more of a force of nature that doesn't even necessarily have to have a name in order to function within his role. Like, we already talked about that though. So I think. But overall, I think that all three. This is my hot cake. Is that between these 3 movies, I think they all exist within like a point of each other easy. I don't think that there's that much of a difference between them. They succeed at different things, and they all have different feels because they're all directed by different people and written by different people. So they all have kind of like unique feels, but they have to be compared against each other because the 2 of them are mimicking one of them. And I just feel like these ones don't have the cultural clout. They didn't open any doors for new movies, I don't think, really. They just sort of follow a rubric for action movies that does not interest me. The first one followed a rubric of action movies that interested me because it was like overblown, but also had this sort of like semi-political take if you wanted to scratch the surface a little bit. It also had a plot that was razor thin that could be ripped apart, just like all of these. But you didn't really want to because there's a slight metaphor there to sort of justify some of the feeling of Blade being a badass. This movie doesn't really have that. And as much as some of the action scenes are better, and as much as the visual effects are markedly improved, I would say, and also I like the visual design. I love Ron Perlman in this. I just like watching Ron Perlman like be a pithy asshole who wants to beat people's asses all the time, which is perfect. I mean, I don't particularly like Norman Reedus in this, but it's because I was just waiting for that axe to drop the whole goddamn movie. I don't know. I go back and forth on all of these movies because what it succeeds at are things that I don't necessarily gravitate towards. And I got to go with my gut and say that this movie sort of has the diminishing returns that you would expect from any sort of general action movie or horror action franchise or horror franchise. But it's closer to a Fast and the Furious than it is a fucking Halloween. That's for damn sure. So I'm going to give this a 2.5. It's middle of the road for me. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but if I do, I'll So 2.5.
All right. Juice, what about you?
I mostly found this movie boring and uninspiring. I was blown away to find out that it was a Del Toro movie. There was almost nothing that felt Del Toro about this movie except for the autopsy scene. The only time I felt like I was like, there's Del Toro was when they cut the vampire open. It had a distinct look, like in anatomy wise and stuff like that. Otherwise, I was like completely blown away to find out that he made this movie. It's The Reaper felt like just a weak sequel monster. Like it's more powerful than a vampire. Like it felt
mistakes.
Yeah, it felt uninspired to me. They took a lot of the fun out of the first movie. It felt like they like didn't either understand it or wanted to make this more serious or taken more seriously. And it just made it more bland to me. The hit squad, whatever vampires were like lame as shit. More mesh shirts, German.
That was hyper comic booky when they introduced them. But
yeah,
as opposed to the first one,
with their ridiculous names and their like face tattoos and just each one of their gimmicks. I found it like really fucking lame.
You are crazy.
What?
Really
crazy.
I'm crazy
Snowman?
for thinking that
I'll let you finish.
You're going to bat for Snowman right now?
Yeah, Snowman. Let me go through the names of these people, Bob. I don't think like
straight out of a comic book. This is the thing.
It's not though, because
yeah.
I don't know.
Jigsaw,
like even
Bloodbang. Like,
it's really like it's like if in any Star Trek episode they took the time to introduce the name and occupation of every red shirt.
Yeah.
You don't need that shit.
These people don't matter. Like their introductions, like this is the Snowman, and
at no point does any of that come.
Yeah, he just dies the next scene. It doesn't matter.
Continue.
I found most of this movie very lame, or boring or uninspired. A handful of times I think like, oh, that's semi-interesting, or oh, that's semi-unique. But for the most part, I forgot a lot of the details like quickly after this movie was finished. It definitely doesn't need to be 2 hours long. I will give it a 2 out of 5 stars.
Cool. 2 from Juice.
Here comes a 5-star review. Ready?
Is the old 2.5 is going to be the aggregate for Blade 2. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment once again and see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh to
All
death.
right, you guys know the rules. Let's go down to Justin, and we're going to talk to Justin about what percentage of critics out of 151.
Out of 151. I
Gave
feel
this a
like this
positive
movie
review.
has a reputation for being better than the original, which like kind of surprised me.
Does it?
I think it does. I think it does. Just from my hearsay. So the last one, I think the critics gave it 55. So I'll give this one I'll go 69, baby. Give it to me.
69. Bobby, what are you gonna got? What are you gonna do for me?
On the critics, I'll go 70.
70. And Juice, what was yours? 60?
69, baby.
69. Juice is gonna take it on this
Hell
one.
yeah.
Not super close, but within 15, 57%.
So slightly higher. Okay, 55, 57.
57%. So yeah, what was that? First one? Wade won. The critics score was
55,
what?
I think.
55. Okay. Yeah, they're comparable. I think that makes sense for critics. The critics' consensus is that though Blade 2 offers more of what worked in the original, its plot and character development appear to have been left on the cutting room floor. I think the first statement is wrong and the second is right.
Randy, is your mic on? Is it, or is your? It sounds like you might be getting picked up by your computer mic. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it changed for some reason.
Oh, it did? Okay.
How's that? Any better?
Sounds the same.
Okay. Well, that's great.
I will finish now.
We do this. And then do
This is how the sausages are made.
Mostly the sausages.
Oh my God, I'm so drunk. By the way, let me just talk about my soju addiction. I am almost done with the second one. I have a third one. Ooh,
I got a third movie.
I went to go pee earlier and I was swaying a scotch.
Oh shit!
I'm not gonna lie. I am
soju to the brain.
That's better.
That?
You fixed it.
I usually drink one and like have a solid buzz going. I'm almost done with two. I've been trying to snack to like, kind of balance it out.
On candy bars?
Yeah, on candy bars.
All right, here we go. We're going to go into our audience score now. Only 450,000 reviews for Blade 2 in the user score.
Holy shit, 400?
Bob, why don't you start us off?
Blade 2. I'm thinking the people are pretty okay with it. 69. I'll take that.
69. Juice, what do you feel?
69. I'm looking to sweep the board on this one. I think the people will probably like it more than Shaboy as a vampire. So I'm going to go with 75.
75. Sorry, Juice. I hope you didn't invest in a broom because you are not sweeping it up this time. This is a 68% film. So Bob's so close to the money, so close to the comedy number.
Shaboy is not a witch, so he does not need a broom.
Dude, me and Bob are 50-50 now. It's gonna come down to the final movie.
Oh man, it's real. That's
to
a real
really
drama.
see.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna read a completely random negative review right now. It is directed by Guillermo Del Toro. By directed, I simply mean he turned his camera work over to the computer graphic surgeons who cut it, slice and dice, and vivisect the material to mount a gross eye assault of CG sequences.
Damn. Yeah.
Damn, girl. That was 2015. Maybe these... Okay, you know what? These must be just listed as 2015 because it was when Rotten Tomatoes came out.
I think Rotten Tomatoes
there's a lot of
before 2015.
Well, maybe not in this format because all of these...
Maybe not.
July 14th, 2015.
Okay.
All of them.
Okay.
Except for
you want to hit up some trivia real quick? You got any juice or no?
It's totally time for trivia.
I can talk some trivia. Over 30 members, 30 of the cast and crew were temporarily blinded by the misuse of UV lights in the vampire autopsy scene. God damn.
We're going to get arrested.
We are going to get erected. I don't know how that bump
I read that
applies,
one,
but
So somebody's getting arrested for blinding people.
oh, arrested.
already
I
erected.
always just assume he says erected. Even
No.
I know he says arrested.
I
but-
play it for the word arrested.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Shaboy's
Scud,
erected.
the best character in this trilogy, Scud.
Oh, B, I'm sorry. Did you
Oh,
think that
yeah.
bomb's gonna work, Blood? Nah.
Scud wears a T-shirt featuring the logo of the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, a reference to Hellboy comic, which was then a film adaptation of which Guillermo, oh my God, Del Toro
Guillermo
directed,
Del Toro.
and Ron Perlman starred in. So there you go.
Oh boy, that's a good one.
Donnie Yen, a martial arts star who plays a member of the Blood Pack.
He's the snowman.
So cool. Snowman was also the film's fight choreographer. So there you go. To Bob, this should get Bob a QJ because he loves being right. He just loves it. Wesley Snipes
I am erected.
Wesley Snipes has admitted that this is his personal favorite Blade film. So you got Wesley
There you
Snipes
go.
on your side, Bob.
I'll bet
There
you.
you go.
I
Rob,
know you're popping that QJ right now. Immediate.
Are you dodging your taxes too,
QJ.
Bob?
I've never paid taxes a day in my life.
Rob, you know Wesley Snipes is a criminal.
We're going to get arrested.
All right.
wanna
Ryan Hart's, aka Ron Perlman's sunglasses are never taken off throughout the course of this film. Okay.
Okay.
God, that
so
character-
fun
Thank
to
the
watch.
gods. He's great. He's fantastic.
I want to read
In this
really-
movie or just as a person? Because
I
in
don't
this
think he's
movie,
all right in this movie
not.
considering what he's given.
I just mean generally, not
Okay,
just
generally.
this movie.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I read one more critic review because this is nuts?
Yes, please.
It's just nuts in regard to what a blast from the past this thing is. Blade 2 is a better vampire movie than recent entries such as Queen of the Damned or Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
That said, Wesley Snipes' return as the Slayer of the Undead is still fairly anemic.
Damn. Queen of the Damned is a damn
Sick
shit
burn.
movie.
It's so bad.
Dude,
It's
Dracula
shit.
2000? Dracula
I never saw it,
2000.
but I've
Dude,
seen Queen of
I
the
will
Damned.
I'll put on the Queen of the Damned soundtrack on occasion.
Oh, I know you will,
I
God,
won't
Bob.
lie.
I know you will. God, that's oh man.
Satan must be stopped at every opportunity.
You should not be proud of that fact. One more
I'm
piece
not
of
proud.
one more
I'm
piece
not
of trivia.
proud.
I find this interesting. Pop icon Michael Jackson was originally going to have a cameo in the House of Pain sequence as a vampire pimp. Oh my God.
I've been out little boys.
Oh,
That Nissa encounters as she searches the upstairs hall. Jackson had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts, and the part was played by a Czech actor. The sequence was ultimately cut out entirely for pacing reasons. Damn, I wish we had Michael Jackson in Blade 2 as a vampire pimp. That shit would have been fucked.
5 stars.
Yeah.
5 stars.
God damn.
oh, I'm a vampire.
Oh my God, vampire.
Shaboy's a vampire.
I like
Shaboy's a vampire.
You like blood?
All
That's
right.
pretty
You-
cool.
You
So
want some
that-
stains?
That is Blade 2. We are into 2 hours of casting. I am
Oh God, let's blast
finishing
through this shit.
my second bottle of soju. Should I open the third?
Yeah,
Yes.
finish that and open it. Let's
Oh
go.
God, come with me.
Oh, play the
Oh
bump,
God,
Randy.
yes, come with me.
Here we
There
go.
it is.
Into our third hour of casting.
All right. Here's the back of the box says.
Yeah.
What's on the
wait,
back of the box?
Bump. Oh God.
Bob, you have the box. You bought it. You
Oh,
purchased
God.
it. You invested hard-earned cash into this box.
This is the hour where the show goes totally off the fucking rails.
This is where the hashtag hard with us squad has the most fun.
Yeah, this is this is your first time listening to the show and you somehow made it this far into this episode, you must be bored as fuck. I'm so sorry. Blade Trinity, 2004.
You must be a quarantine.
So David S. Goyer, who wrote the first movie, came back, wrote this one, directed this one. David, what the fuck is wrong with you? Starring Wesley Snipes, Chris Christopherson, Parker Posey, Jessica Biel, fucking
Patton
Ryan
fucking
Reynolds,
Oswalt.
Patton fucking Oswalt, who does no wrong, to be honest.
Does no right in this particular
But
instance.
yeah, bite your tongue.
Hey, that man's just getting a check, and I'm fine with it.
This is
So
the King of
the-
Queens days. I don't blame him.
Synopsis is as follows. Blade, now a wanted man by the FBI, because that's fucking interesting, I guess, must join forces with the Night Stalkers. The Night Stalkers? To face his most challenging enemy yet. Dracula, who goes by Drake. Cool.
Dude, okay, so I know this is like from the comics, the Night Stalker thing, but Jesus Christ, that whole...
Whoa. You seen it before? You recommend it, Randy?
Yeah, you gotta.
No,
help
never,
out, Randy.
never seen it before. I mean, I might as well have seen it when I watched fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine, because this is basically just fucking Ryan Reynolds quips and terrible action sequences. So no, I don't recommend it.
Cool. Juice?
No, this movie is dog shit. I was baffled by how bad this movie was. I really was. It's so dated too. It's dog shit in the way that only a movie made in like 2002 could be dog shit. It's
the
my
butt
god.
rock of films.
2004.
2004. It is the butt rock of films. That is appropriate, Randy. Thank you for that. That is.
This is the
absolutely
Creed movie that I was describing.
It is. This is the butt rock of films made in 2004. This is a stain on the history of filmology.
Stains.
I am
you made
going to open my third bottle of soju as soon as I listen to Bob's recommendation. I do not recommend this film.
Yes. I would in no way recommend this movie to anybody under any circumstances. It's bad. I've never seen it before. I'll never see it again. Blade Trinity.
Bite your tongue.
This is where we are. So we're going to go and drop that spoiler warning, and we're talking about Blade Trinity. Here we go.
And
Spoiler warning.
So I assume Randy's gonna give the
No.
What?
No, it's your turn, baby.
no,
No,
it's not.
I gave the first one,
Oh.
bitch.
No,
Who's
but
drunk
I want
here?
You to... I want you to crack that third bottle and then try and tell me.
Okay,
what this
well, I
movie's
gotta
about.
get. I have to get the third bottle. You guys have to fill
Oh,
time
my.
while I get the third.
Oh,
Oh, we're stretching
How
for
much
juice to
time?
get his boozies. So yeah, let me see.
Justin's
if
really
I-
fucking this show up. You know. What
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah, what a piece of shit. I
He's
hate
the
you.
worst. I'm so glad he's gone.
Did you hear
I
what
hope
our
he doesn't
audience has been saying
ever
about
come back.
Justin? Listen to
Yeah,
listen to
they
what our
hate him.
audience have to say. They really don't like it. Oh, hey, Juice, what's up?
I will only do this if Randy is okay with it because I did the first one.
Oh no, I'm doing it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna do
good.
my best. I'm doing
Okay,
it.
that's
Don't you
fine.
take this from me.
I didn't want to. Bob tried to force it on me.
I wanted it.
Oh
but that's
my
fine.
god.
Catch you fuckers at a bad time.
So this movie goes.
By
like
the
this.
way, look at this. Everyone look at
Ah, you are a derailment machine tonight.
this. That's a
We
third bottle of
have
soda.
to get through this.
This is a 3-hour episode. Blade Trinity goes like this. So Blade's out there doing his business. He's out there killing him some vampires and shit. Meanwhile, some vampires and shit have just dug up real-life Dracula from under a pyramid or some shit. Real-life Dracula goes by Drake and just looks like a fairly well-built dude with a short haircut. And he's also kind of made of bone when he wants to be or some shit. And he's trying to take some shit over. They're trying to use Parker Posey is in charge of these vampires for some reason. We'll get to that. But she wants to enlist Dracula's help in killing Blade because Dracula can also walk around in the day, like the Daywalker. So there's a reason for him to exist in this movie. But Dracula's not that interested. He's just kind of like, well, I just want to murder folk, so I'm just going to go around murdering folk for a while. Parker Posey and her band of merry vampires come up against Hannibal King in the form of Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel as the daughter of Whistler, the Chris Christopherson character, who finally for realsies dies in this one, if I remember right. Is that right?
Right. And also in the first movie, he says how he has a daughter and a wife who were murdered by a vampire, but then this daughter was not that daughter. They like retconned a separate
Yeah, she's
daughter.
like, oh yeah, it was his daughter from wedlock later.
I was born out of wedlock.
Fucking Whistler's story is just like whatever the fuck they need it to be.
Dude, this baby Whistler is the most non-entity of all characters in the Blade series, and that's saying something. She has less character than Snowman. It's crazy.
I do this the sequence where she's like in the subway kicking ass. That was pretty cool. I dug it.
I didn't get it. I didn't like it that much. So yeah, so we get introduced to the Night Stalkers, who are for some reason called the God. Like, I know this is from the comic books. I'm sure it is. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm confident that it is. And it's just a terrible name considering that Richard Ramirez is a real person that existed, and it just. And then they get their name made fun of, and of course Ryan Reynolds leans into it, doing Ryan Reynolds humor. Why is that dude just do stand up, man? Like, that's what you want. It's clear that that's what you want.
Dude, the Ryan Reynolds like one-liners in here are rough.
They're terrible.
And
terrible.
There's a reason though, and there's a reason, and it's not a good reason, but it is a reason. The reason is this: fucking Wesley Snipes did not want to be in this fucking movie at all. He did not want anything to do with this movie.
That
he
is
did not
very
like
clear.
the script. He did not like
That
the
makes
script,
a lot of
and
sense.
yeah, and I'm gonna just spoil one piece of trivia, which is that Ryan Reynolds said that he never actually met Wesley Snipes because Blade was always Blade when he came into camera, and the one thing that he said to Ryan Reynolds was, "You should shut your mouth. You'll live longer." So Wesley was not about it. That disdain you see in Blade's eye when not acting.
I would agree with that.
And this is
statement.
like,
Shut up, Ryan Reynolds.
this is the kind of
please.
thing that I fucking hate about Ryan Reynolds. Like, I've never was a huge fan. I think he's great in Deadpool because that is the character for him to do Ryan Reynolds humor with. That works perfectly. And like, he's done other things that are okay. I've actually been impressed with him in the past on various occasions, but for the most part, this is the kind of role that I saw him in growing up. And this is the thing I can't extract him from it. His fucking one-liners are so frequent, and it's partially because they had to fill time because neither Jessica Biel just doesn't have lines, and Blade just won't say lines. So all the one-liners, all the exposition, all the everything depends on fucking Ryan Reynolds and Parker Posey. And Parker fucking Posey is a terrible choice for this movie. I don't like. Did you take her seriously for even like a second? Like even like in a passing way, even like in a this person looks badass kind of way. Even Ron Perlman pulled that off. Even Scud pulled it off better than Parker Posey. I cannot see this woman as a threatening person.
What's the rest
anyway,
of the plot?
The
here?
plot.
Bob, trying to keep this train wreck in check.
So the plot is such. So Dracula is going around killing goth people for wearing Dracula merch. And
That's
happens.
accurate.
probably the best scene in this movie.
But also the
terrible.
most inaccurate scene in any Blade scene. Let me explain why. No bitch ass goth kid working at a Dracula store wearing a mesh shirt would have the balls to stand up to a dude who looks like the guy playing Drake strolling into his store where he's like, "She's talking to you, man. She's talking to you." It's
I don't
like,
know
no,
if you have
that's-
neighbors. I don't know if you have neighbors, but they just heard you scream the word balls.
the balls.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
there's not this. It's a pretty thin plot. I don't know if you're surprised by that, but it is. Ryan Reynolds gets captured. He also has a tracking chip in him, so Blade and Jessica Biel go out and save his ass, and then they fight in a high-rise building, and then Dracula gets cured. Right?
I actually cannot remember how this movie ends.
He gets cured. I think he gets
I cannot do it.
Dracula?
I watched this like yesterday.
Dracula loses.
Yeah. How?
But it's some sort of chemical thing, I think.
Oh yeah, they make a virus, so
That's right.
somehow
Yeah.
I do remember
make like
that.
an
The virus that
airborne
would stop
virus.
vampirism at all for everybody.
Yeah.
Except
and they weren't
for
sure
vampires.
if it would kill Blade because he was a half-blood. Turns out
Yeah.
it didn't. He's fine.
Here's some bullshit about it though. They're like, we're going to destroy vampires and we're going to cure it. But it depends on them injecting fucking Dracula with this serum.
Yeah, because Dracula's blood is purest.
It is
He's
pure.
the first vampire of all.
But she
So
specifically says anyone in the vicinity of Dracula. So they're like killing vampires on a very, very small scale.
I think that the idea is that vampires no longer it's not that they instantly like the virus goes and then all vampires are dead, but they only had enough time, they said at one point. There's some other there's like 3 levels of sleeper cell after Whistler dies that we don't get introduced to, and one of which appears in the last act, and it's the first time you ever see him, and he's suddenly part of the crew. But he comes in and he's like, oh, I only had time to make one of these darts that will release the toxins into Dracula and kill the vampires in the vicinity. I think the idea is that they can make more and use that, but in order to perfect it, they have to kill Dracula with it, and I guess get samples from it. That's unclear. Completely unnecessary.
I thought the
unclear.
blind chick was making the blind chick dies.
Blind chick, yeah. Fucking what's her name? What is that fucker's name? Yeah, there's a lot of people that a lot of names in this movie actually, which is fucking weird.
You guys remember the Pomeranian vampire where its jaw splits open and shit?
Dude,
why is that in a movie?
Dude, why does it have the same jaw situation as the mutated vampires from the second
Reaper?
one? None of the
At
other
least they
vampires
kept it
are.
consistent.
I guess. So Dracula in this movie.
Oh, and Triple
Horrible.
H is in this shit.
Horrible.
Yeah.
This is the worst Dracula I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
he used to do it no neck. He has no fucking neck.
No, he has no neck. John Michael Higgins is in this. Fucking Natasha Lyonne, that's the blind chick, who's great in other things, but has nothing to do here except have a daughter and be blind. This is the movie. It's there's nothing going on. Everything that was extracted from part 2 is doubly extracted in this one, and it's very clear that there are only a handful of people in this movie or involved in this movie trying.
Yeah, this movie's pretty dog shit.
The star of this movie would not participate in this movie. So
Blade calls Dracula a motherfucker.
Dude,
and
how
Dracula
I like
says,
that.
How dated?
Motherfucker.
I fucking hate it. I can't tell you how much I fucking hate it. The sequence.
You can, and you are.
The sequence where they're like, Ryan Reynolds is like, she likes to listen to MP3s, and she puts them in a playlist to kill vampires. I was like, Jesus Christ, is it 2004?
They had to show the iPod. They had to show the
Holy
iPod.
shit.
That was 1,000% subsidized
had to
by
fucking
Apple.
show her making a fucking playlist on a fucking computer using my iTunes.
Dude, the motherfucker line, Rob, to your point, that motherfucker line is kind of accidentally hilarious in retrospect, because there is absolutely, unequivocally, and unreasonably little unique about the word fucking motherfucker. You can't find a fucking 10-year-old that doesn't know and take advantage of the word motherfucker. It is and yet Dracula, the most fearsome fucking vampire, supposedly, is like, oh, what a novel thought. I like fucking a mother or two.
Yeah.
Why not?
Motherfucker. I like it.
Yeah.
This is the worst villain of all three.
This is absolutely the worst
easily.
villain.
Dracula.
He
is
doesn't look cool.
bullshit.
He doesn't act
No.
cool. He kind of looked cool with his like bone shit going on. I could have gotten behind that as the whole thing,
Kind of.
but they wouldn't show it, and probably because it didn't look good in full light.
And like, so Dracula
It had to be
is
like
the,
hidden.
he's also the proto-vampire, but he was like perfect. He had no flaws, so that everybody that he spawned then somehow like generated flaws, which
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
make
that's
any
how-
fucking sense.
That's
It kinda
that's
makes
just
sense
like
if you
Darwin
think of,
explained
like,
it.
Yeah, like a virus. Like it's like as you mix blood, like especially because they set up like some people are pure blood and some people are turned vampires. That makes kind of like. I'm not defending. I don't want to defend this movie. I don't want to defend this movie.
So he's the only
And
perfect vampire. I don't know.
He
It
can
makes him
Also,
very
I hate
uninteresting.
I hate how he references. He's like, "Have you heard of Stroker's novel about me?"
Stoker's,
It's like, bitch, you've
Stoker's
been
fable.
asleep for like
Stroker.
centuries. Stroker, my boy.
I'd be stroking.
Dude, I be stroking. I am always stroking.
Have you heard Strokin's fable?
Bram Stroker?
Have you
I'm
heard?
Strokin.
Have you heard of
I fucking love that.
Bram Strokin.
Oh,
This is what happens when you're 3 sodas deep.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Dude,
That
have
is
you
a
heard?
movie. That is a porn. That
Have you-
is a porn somewhere. That
Have you heard
Yes, it is.
Strokin's novel about me, bitch?
Strokin wrote a few words about me in my fable.
Bram Strokin,
shit.
baby.
Bram Slam Stroking Dracula.
Slam. Okay, we've gone off
Yeah.
the rails. But yes, so it's bad. It's a bad movie. It there's nothing charming about it because the thing that makes the first two, if you even consider the second one, but like for me, the first one certainly, the thing that makes that work is fucking Wesley Snipes being into it and making like fucking fun like one-liners and doing stupid fist bumps and shit, and then beating wholesale ass, and then having a villain with like a pathos and like or like with some sort of like egocentric plan. That is an action movie. This movie is an action movie in title alone. It's just there's going to be some action sequences. That's it. And everything else is just by numbers at best.
Dude, how about the like montage of Jessica Biel like firing an arrow? And,
yeah,
it
practicing
just gets
archery.
like faster. Oh shit. This arrow, but it all looks the same. Oh shit, this arrow is 200 miles per hour. Oh shit, that one was 225.
We're gonna have to start winding this thing
that's
down.
fine. That's fine.
There's really not a whole lot going on here anyways, which is good for us.
That's fine.
Yeah, this movie is rough. Dracula dies from a virus, which is stupid. There's also an alternate ending where they tag on this scene at the end with Jessica Biel, Ryan Reynolds. They walk into like a casino and they're hunting this like werewolf vampire creature hybrid thing, and they find him, and Reynolds says like, "Don't you know fur is murder?" And they shoot him, and then they're setting up another movie,
Werewolves.
which ultimately, yeah, that doesn't happen. Thank God. That's
Well, they're
the
setting
end
up
of-
they're setting up a Night Stalkers movie. And
Oh
that was-
Jesus.
Yeah. Blade Trinity, out of 5 stars. Randy, how are you feeling?
I mean, this movie's obviously worse than the first two. I think that conventional wisdom holds true. I don't know, like, what's to like? Genuinely, what is to like in this movie? There's even the action scenes. I couldn't name one really.
The subway one was my favorite.
Yeah, but even that was like, I don't know. It didn't work for me. And none of the action scenes worked for me. And if your action movie can't work on that level, it doesn't work. And it's very obvious that whatever ground they needed to cover, they employed the work of fucking of fucking Ryan Reynolds doing his Ryan Reynolds thing, which I just can't. I just don't like in most cases. It's not for me. Like even when it's clever, it's just like, oh god, it's like the future of dad jokes in a person. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't know what else to say. It's just a bad movie. I'm gonna give it a 1. I think
1 star from Randy. Juice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I will say some good things about this movie. When this hadn't, like, the opening action sequence with Blade where he had, like, a whip thing or whatever, and he was, like, blowing bitches up, I thought to myself, for a second, I thought, oh, shit, this might be the most entertaining Blade movie. Like, that opening sequence where he's whipping bitches, and he even specifically says, like, oh, this worked really good to Whistler or whatever. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm digging this. Anything after that, though, I was like, oh, this is complete dog shit. Jesus Christ. So there were some... I also did like the subway scene, Bob. I did like when Jessica Biel was kicking ass. I didn't like where she was, like, exploited, and then she did, like, a nude shower scene. I was pretty upset about that, actually.
that was not. I don't even remember that. Like,
it's just it's another montage of her just like being upset, and like
he gets montages instead of dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. And then she ends up naked in a shower, and I was like, oh god, okay. I really hate Ryan Reynolds in this movie. Usually I don't mind Ryan Reynolds. Like, I'm kind of 50-50 on him. I guess, like, I don't know. Like, Deadpool I like. But this movie, I fucking hated every line that came out of his mouth. Ultimately, though, I'll give it a 1. It had some decent action sequences. But it's still pretty much dog shit.
I will agree with you on the dog shit point.
Okay, what else will you agree with me on, Bob?
Ryan Reynolds, just please stop talking. And
Yeah.
I don't like
Patton
hate
Oswalt
Ryan
be
Reynolds and
funny.
everything, but
Why the fuck is Patton
Right.
Oswalt in this movie if not to be funny for a second at least?
it's true.
Instead of playing basketball, give him a joke. Let him be funny.
I don't have really anything positive to say about this movie except for after Whistler dies. Blade is on the dock just outside the building after it explodes, and he lets this scream go, and it is hilarious.
That
And the face he makes after that scream is where you go like, man, this guy doesn't give a shit about this movie.
Doesn't give a shit. We'll
It
get
is
into
so
it in
obvious.
trivia. I want to talk about it in trivia.
Just
I'm
like
gonna
that.
give this a 0.5. That's gonna put our aggregate at a 0.8 for Blade Trinity. It's a panty waste of a movie. Let's go ahead and get.
Wait,
into
what
our
did
Rotten
you give it, Bob?
Tomatoes.
What did you give it?
0.5.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get into our Rotten Tomatoes segment once again. See what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh to death.
Way ahead of you, baby. We're gonna go through the critic score first, of course. There's 168 critic reviews out of 100. What percentage is positive? Bob.
30.
30 from Bob. Juice, what do you think? Do you think the critics love this secretly?
How many critics were there, Randy?
168.
168. God, this movie's got to be low. 30, that's too generous. I got to say, that's too generous. I'm going to give it 20.
20. Oh, Bob's going to take this one.
God damn it.
By a point. 26%
Fuck.
this movie had.
Damn.
26% positive. I'm going to read one of those positive reviews, and I intend to laugh about it.
Please read it.
Not yet. I'm going to read it in a second. Let me read
okay.
the critics' consensus first. First, the critics' consensus. Louder, campier, and more incoherent than its predecessors, Blade Trinity seems content to emphasize style over substance and rehash familiar themes. Sure, that seems fair.
This movie has a higher score than Halloween Resurrection. Would you rather watch this movie or Halloween Resurrection?
Resurrection.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Any day.
Me too.
Yeah.
That rat, baby. That rat's gonna
That
seal the
rat.
deal for me.
That fucking rat.
That
5
rat.
stars for that rat. It's a 5-star rat.
That one scene receives
Like nothing
5
I'd ever
stars.
smelled before in my life.
Yes, I've never smelled such a rat in my life.
Yeah. Here's a positive review. If you're looking for a film with insight and depth, see Sideways. If you are looking for a throwaway guilty pleasure with a bark louder than its bite, this is the movie for you. I've seen Sideways. You don't need to see that either.
I'd watch it before fucking Blade Trinity.
Yeah, I would too. But I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
it's not a favorable comparison anyway. Yeah, so that's the one positive review on the front page of the critic reviews. So how about we go into the audience score? There is 438,000 roughly audience scores. So Juice, why don't you take it?
God, it's still gotta be low. Who likes this movie? I'll give it 25 then.
25. Bob,
Yeah.
what do you think?
30.
30. Boy, you guys should have guessed those the first time. I guess Rob did. It's a 59%. So Bob's gonna take it.
Man, Bob's gonna win the
59.
day. Damn, fuck you, Bob.
Still a rotten
Nine.
movie by audience score. but
59?
59 is
Who? Who?
69 minus 10.
No, Bob, fuck the math.
Blade is tricked by vampires into murdering a human, so now Blade is wanted by the vampires and the humans. These are the reviews from audience members.
Who's 6? Wow, what? Who?
Oh,
Who likes
have another
this
candy
movie?
bar, man.
You're a monster! What the hell is wrong with you?
Can you see how much of the
What
soda
is that?
left?
What? Yeah, they're like half, maybe.
Half,
Better
yeah.
sip it up.
Dude, ooh, I'm fucked up.
Look, man, I didn't give up on my red stag, so I expect great things.
Dude,
from
you didn't drink a full bottle of
I
Red
didn't.
Stag.
I didn't. That shit was already half drunk.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What else do we do on this show? We do other things. We got to talk about some trivia. You got trivia, Juice?
Sure.
Sure.
It's totally time for trivia.
There it is. I needed the bump. According to Patton Oswalt, the production was so troubled due to studio interference and that Wesley Snipes appeared to have some sort of mental breakdown. He refused to speak to David Goyer and often would not come out of his trailer. He would only respond to the name Blade. And if he communicated with anyone, it would be via post-it notes. What the fuck?
Dude, some of these reviews, holy shit.
I kind of love that. That's insane.
That is insane. Jessica Biel inadvertently destroyed a camera, costing more than $300,000. Holy shit.
Damn.
When she fired an arrow directly into the camera's lens. She was directed to aim for the camera, which had a plexiglass shield in front of it to protect it, except for a small opening in front of the lens. Biel had perfected her archery skills while training for this role, to such a degree that when she fired the arrow at a distance of approximately 50 feet at the camera, as she was directed, it went directly through the lens and into the camera itself, destroying it.
Bullseye.
There you go. The footage of this incident is included in the DVD extra. Bob,
Oh, Rob,
you
your
should
money is
have that.
well
Didn't you
spent.
know? Didn't you know you bought this? And I'm sure you watched the extra feature.
I watched them all, and it was very enjoyable.
I believe that you did. One of the television commercials for this film was recalled after one day of airing because it accidentally credited Jessica Biel as Jessica Alba. Those are two different people.
Honestly, they are different people, but with the amount of like character that this person had, it could have been a standee.
Do you know what makes this person unique? She makes playlists on her Wait, what is it called?
Device.
Her MP3 player.
Yeah, what is it called?
An iPod?
An
iPod! Holy shit, I couldn't remember.
What
I'm
the
fucked
Well,
up.
have another candy bar.
Dude. Blade 2 director Del Toro passed on the film when Hellboy, his dream project, was greenlit. So he was asked to direct this film. He appropriately declined, thank God. I'm not a big Hellboy guy either, but it's damn better than this fucking
Yeah,
bullshit.
it is.
I agree.
Definitely way better. He took Perlman and like hauled ass.
Yeah. And I think Hellboy and Hellboy 2 are better than Blade 2. So fuck me, right?
All of the Blade movie. Continue.
Oh my God.
I have not read any of these. I'm literally just firing off the cuff. Wait, the cusp. Wait, what?
Off the cuff.
Give us two more.
I'm
Just two
fucked
more.
up. Okay. When he was asked what it was like working with Wesley Snipes on this film, Ryan Reynolds said sincerely that I never met. Oh, Randy already said this. God damn it.
Yep.
I never met Wesley Snipes on this film. Not for a second. I only met Blade. God damn it. Randy, you know how hard it is to run trivia. You ran it before.
I sure
and then
do.
pawned it
Here's
off onto me.
Here, I'll
I
help
think
you
that's
out.
enough.
I'll help you out. This
Oh,
is this is another review instead of a last piece of trivia because this is insane. This person is mentally unwell. This person writes the best movie in the franchise with a stellar cast that shines. Parker Posey does a superb job as one of the main villains. Jessica Biel is great for the part. The movie works at the same level as Thor Ragnarok.
That person needs a hug.
That person is insane.
Insane in the membrane.
Or drunk.
It is very bizarre indeed.
I can't tell.
Well, thank you for that thorough trivia. We got to talk Cooters for 3 fucking movies. We're doing it now. Let's go hunting.
Who we got?
I've got a hankering to hunt some people. So
what is a cooter, Juice?
Yeah.
let's
What's
talk
going
about
on?
the cooter. We have to hit 5 points, yeah, bitches. We are talking manipulation, smug arrogance, sexual deviancy, attire, and overall patheticness. Somehow, when I'm drunk as fuck, I'm able to hit the 5 points, no fucking problem.
Roll them all off. No
Roll
problem.
them.
You
Roll
gotta
them.
Bedazzled.
hit 3 of those points. You're considered a Cooter
Yes.
character type.
So
That's right.
across the board of all of the Blade trilogy, Frost, I throw out Ryan Reynolds. God damn.
I think
No,
Ryan Reynolds.
God.
So are we just gonna are we trying to find the cooterest cooter of all 3 or a cooter per movie?
You
What
can
are we
do
trying to
each,
do?
I guess.
Whatever.
Okay.
Either way, whatever.
I'm
floats
trying
your
to think
boat.
of out of all 3.
I would say I'd
Scud.
go one per. Scud? Nah, not Scud. No.
What? Scott could.
Oh well,
Manipulation.
if we're doing 1 per, then I guess.
Okay, 1 per. Okay.
Manipulation, arrogance, attire,
Overall,
maybe.
I'd say
He's greasy.
I'd
he's
say
greasy.
Frost. I'd say if we're doing overall, I'd say Frost between Ryan Reynolds.
I don't
No,
see
Ryan-
Frost that much. Like
I see Frost.
I
No,
see Frost.
He's got smug arrogance. He's
Yep.
got, dude, the chest
Manipulation.
hair. I know
He's
I'm
got
harping
the
on the chest
attire.
I didn't even
hair.
notice
I
the
gotta
chest hair,
give
to
the
be honest
attire.
with you.
It's out of control. There is one scene where he is shirtless and it's just completely untamed. It's
stroking.
It's out of control.
No one's stroking.
No
about
one
Frost.
is stroking.
No, yeah. If we're picking one across all 3, it's easily Frost.
Really?
You think it's easy?
Okay, so
Easily.
arrogance. Hey, run them down for me because I was just just
Okay.
interested because of the allegories going on. If it could be
Smug
said to
arrogance, Randy. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Manipulation.
Definitely.
Sexual
For
deviancy.
sure.
Overall
Sexual deviancy?
patheticness.
I don't know that he's sexually deviant.
There's
He's
not
banging
a lot
it
of
out,
sexual
but it
shit
seems,
hanging out.
Seems
Yeah,
on the
it
level.
seemed
It's
consensual.
not like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attire for sure, because he looks
Dude,
like
I'm
he's
giving
playing
him
bass
attire
guitar
for the
Creed.
dude, and I'm also playing the chest hair's got to give attire. Overall patheticness.
attire.
Is he pathetic?
I wouldn't say he's
Bob?
super pathetic. I think he's
I don't think
master of his
so.
future.
He seems incredibly pathetic to me because he knows that he is less than because he is not a pure-blooded vampire. He wasn't born a vampire. He was turned.
Eugenicist argument. Okay.
And so he's trying to one-up these people who are purebred because he knows that he can never be them. So he has to find a way to prove to himself
And
that
you
he
think
is
that's
better than them.
pathetic?
That is fucking pathetic, man. Just be
You
who
think
you
the
are.
civil
Be
rights
okay with
movement is pathetic, Rob? Huh?
Just
Trying to overcome your oppressor, Bob. That's pathetic. That's what you're saying.
pathetic.
Who is oppressing fraud? No one.
The purebloods are repressing.
purebloods?
Whatever, man.
You just told me so.
Ever. Nah, no, it's Frost, hands down for me. The man is a cooter.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Maybe that's
some, not all, but
you know, maybe
Frost
that's
would be one of them.
maybe that's what's pathetic is he tries to ice skate uphill. It's really
Let's
pathetic.
see. I can't not focus on Ryan Reynolds. He's just such a cooter.
I feel like every background character in these movies they're all cooters, 100%.
Dude,
Ryan
also
Reynolds
Ryan
isn't.
We
He
didn't
doesn't have enough.
we didn't
that
bring
you
up
can consider a
Reinhardt.
cooter.
Reinhardt.
I mean, I guess
Smug-
everybody in this
arrogance.
movie has a attire. Every single person.
Attire, dude. The mesh
yeah, that's
shirts
fair.
are out of hand. The
Everybody,
amount
yeah.
of mesh shirts that are included in this trilogy are like mind blowing.
I think they tapped the international supply of fucking mesh shirts, and it's gone at this point. So
I hope so.
Could we consider Blade a cooter? Because he has the attire, for sure.
He
Is
doesn't.
arrogant.
No,
as
Blade is
cool in it,
slick
though.
as shit. Blade is slick as shit.
Hey, listen. He's got the goofy ass sunglasses. Did you see his haircut? It's kind of nuts.
No.
He's got a lot of leather. He's got a lot of buckles. He's got so many buckles.
No.
It's crazy.
I am
He's
not.
got buckles
strikes
on
me
his
as a
shirt.
good-looking
On his
comic book
shirt.
character.
No.
Also, he is incredibly arrogant.
No.
You cannot argue that.
No.
He is arrogant as fuck. Yes, he is.
No.
Okay.
Blade is not a cooter,
Go on, Bob. Go
Bob.
on.
Blade is not a cooter.
I want to hear this.
Well, he's okay. So if you're going with me, he's arrogant. He's also manipulative because in the second movie, he knows that Scud is a turncoat and he just lets it ride.
That's not manipulative.
I don't think
That's
I don't
playing
think
his
that all
hand.
lying is
Plays
manipulation.
No,
Like,
it's not.
I don't know.
I would say Frost, Reinhardt, or Ryan Reynolds are like across the trilogy are my votes.
What is he getting from Scud? Like that's the thing is like manipulation requires
good
you
question.
to get something
he's
out
not
of it.
getting anything out of him.
He's just following the war.
He's just letting him be a fool. Yeah, he's letting him play his own foolishness.
He's letting him fuck up.
Yeah,
He blows his ass
That's a
up.
fair question because he really does. Honestly, that's just shitty writing, I guess.
it is.
I mean,
really
yeah.
That's what that
frustrating.
comes down to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I think
Frost.
we can all agree on that.
Let's land on Frost. because we
Frost
have
or
other
Ryan
shit to do.
Reynolds?
Whatever.
Frost?
You guys, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's about as close as I've gotten to
That's-
a cooter.
I'm fine with Frost.
To me, it's just the whole movie just screams like every character is kind of a cooter in some.
There's a lot of
Kind of,
cooter
yeah.
potentials. The mesh shirts,
visually,
the mesh
whole
shirts
movie feels
is the
cootery.
ultimate
Like-
attire for cooters. Like if you're wearing a mesh shirt, like you're like pegged cooter. Like you can't.
Dracula. What about Dracula?
Oh, we didn't bring
For
up
the
Dracula.
love.
That's true. Dracula. I feel like
He's
Dracula
got
could
the-
be a
He's too
cooter.
boring to be a cooter.
He's got the attire. Does he have
He's
the
arrogant as fuck.
smug arrogance? Okay. He's not pathetic. He's not pathetic.
No.
He's not really a sexual deviant either. And
Does he manipulate anybody?
Yeah, he
probably.
Yeah, because he tries to enlist every villain in this whole franchise. Always is like, Blade, we could be friends. Team up with me, and then Blade's like, motherfucker, and then kills him.
Motherfucker. I like that.
I think he is actually
Motherfucker.
pathetic. I'm gonna go back on
Why?
that. I think
Why?
Dracula is pathetic because Dracula in this movie, who was apparently this all-powerful being, the original, the
Yeah.
OG vampire, flawless character. he kidnaps an infant so that he can hold Blade at bay.
That's true.
So, and
He
he
is
like
running-
throws the baby.
he is
off a
running from
building
Blade.
so that
Why-
he can escape.
Yeah,
Wait,
why is
exactly.
Dracula
Blade.
running from
Exactly.
Blade?
If he's this flawless
Also-
original vampire,
Yeah.
Also,
Fuck
there's
that.
a lot of babies being tossed around in this fucking
Yeah,
movie.
there are.
There's at
More than
least
one.
more than one baby being tossed around like it's a loaf of bread. And then fucking one of Wesley, I read on trivia somewhere that Wesley Snipes had somewhere like 90 lines in this movie, which is insane. And
is-
one of them is him saying "coochie coo" to the baby.
that should not qualify as a line.
It
That
does.
doesn't
Somehow
count.
it does. It counts in the 90 lines that he was given.
Jeez, man. All right. Well, now I'm kind of tied. Frost and Dracula, or Drake, if you will, kind of tied between them.
Drake, Frost Nixon, one of
I
those
don't know.
fucks. I don't
All
know,
right.
man. They're
Let's
just cooters.
Run through them. If we had to pick one, what is it going to be? Randy, who you landing on?
Yes. I'll go with Dracula because I never really got too much of a specific vibe from Frost as being a cooter, just
All right.
outright. I was maybe distracted, but
Juice, you?
Juice is not in the room.
Oh, I can't see. I can only see
Justin's
one of you at
pissing
a
in a
time.
trash can
So
somewhere.
he probably is. I actually think I am going to change my mind and go with fucking Dracula because the baby snatching totally.
Then that's
that-
pathetic.
Yeah, it's so pathetic, especially if you're like the ultimate vampire
Yeah, that's like
being.
that is
Yeah.
pathetic actually because that's a
Terrible.
very like tweaker move. That's not like
It is.
I could just be like if he was really badass, he could just be like, "Well, I'm gonna kick your ass now." That's
Yeah,
it.
that whole
And
sequence
he
where
never does.
he's
Never
out
does.
in the sun too, like, oh, Dracula is
They never even fight in the
accessible to
sun. That
Yeah.
never happens, does it?
Juice,
Yeah.
what is your pick for final cooter?
You make a strong case for Dracula. I'd say Dracula or Nick Frost. It's up in the air.
Nick Frost.
One. You got to pick one.
Nick Frost.
Not
No,
Nick
it's not
Frost.
Nick Frost.
Just Frost.
Gay.
It's Frost.
Oh fuck! All right,
Dude, Nick Frost
Gay?
is the cooter of the Blade.
Nick.
Poor Nick. He's like, I wasn't even in this fucking movie.
Oh God.
That's too
Oh.
good.
That's too good.
Mm.
Fuck. I don't know. Dracula, you make a strong case for Dracula. I don't mind giving it Dracula or Frost. It's fine.
All right, sounds like Drake. We're going with Drake.
Drake. Fucking Drake.
That's
The fact
the
that his name
cooter.
is Drake
I know.
should probably
Dude.
give him the cooter case.
They
Fucking
it's
ridiculous.
they want to use the Dracula mythos, but they can't possibly imagine calling him just Dracula.
Yeah, and also they're like, oh, like they also try to add in like he was like even older than like. I hate how he's like, have you heard of the novel about me? I was like, what? How would you even know
Bram
that
Stoker's novel?
exists? The Stroker. How would you
Bram
know about
Stoker.
Strokers?
I be stroking.
I'm Bram Stroking.
How would you know you've been stroking, bitch?
Bram Stroking
Oh.
to the west. I Bram Stroking to the east.
I'm in Dude, I'm so fucked up.
We got.
Dude, it is not even 11 a.m. in Carolina.
I'm Bram Stroking.
I told you.
We
I'm fucked up.
I told you.
I'm fucked up.
we got one more segment we got to get to. We got a voicemail this week.
Thank God.
We're getting into our Hotline Scream segment. If you are listening to us and you would like to call in and leave us a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. This week, we got a voicemail from our boy Kyle calling in. Let's see what
Kyle?
Kyle has to say.
Hey boys, it's Kyle Ray. Just wanted to let you know, I was talking to Bob about last Halloween. My company decided that we were all going to dress up in costumes, for Halloween, I guess, in the office. but I unfortunately I didn't have a costume, but I had this fun shirt that had Glenn Hobbs, former Satanist, courtesy of Straight Showing Podcast. And I'm going through the office, and this 60-year-old woman came up to me, and she said, "Who's that?" And I said, that's my uncle. He's from my mother's side." And she read the shirt, and she saw a former Satanist, and she goes, "Oh, did he find Jesus?" And I was like, "Well, I think he's looking for him, but he's hard to reach." And then I went on to tell her that I got some really nice gourds and pumpkins, and she's like, "What? She couldn't say it. She kept going, "Pumpkins?" I'm like, "No, pumpkins." She's like, "What's a pumpkin?" I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of like a pumpkin, but you take it and if you mash it with blueberries, you have a blumpkin, and you can make a blumpkin pie." And so short story, she was very confused lady, and I'm glad that my boy Glenn Hobbs is making his rounds. And Justin, I'm still a little bitter that we had to review Ghost in October, but that's besides the point. Anyways, thanks a lot, guys, and keep chilling.
So, just our boy Kyle's just going out confusing old ladies on our behalf.
Justin is broken, and I love it.
Justin can't handle what's happening right now.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
To me, it sounds like
I can't breathe.
Kyle is living right. He's
Dude,
living right.
Dude, Kyle,
you should consider not lying to 60-year-old women in your office.
That might be the best voice.
God damn.
That shit is killing me.
Damn.
He told an old lady about blumpkins. Kind of.
Kind of. I'm just gonna go out tomorrow and just start lying to old women that I see in the streets. Like, hey, I'm Jesus.
Oh my god!
As long as it's about the shirt you're wearing.
I thought that was hilarious. Oh
also,
my god!
He's cross with you, Juice, because you made him watch Ghost.
Well, yeah, that is true. Well, we did it. It was in October. Bob bitched about it. It's over.
I did.
Deal with it.
It's over.
It's October.
That was
Satan must be stopped at every opportunity.
Yeah, but we watched Ghost, and I'm proud of that. I am proud of that achievement.
You're the only one. Kyle, thank you for repping our shirt at the office. Thank you for representing Glenn Hobbs, former fucking Satanist.
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins will set you free.
Pumpkins. Dude, that voicemail is killing me, dude. Like, I may be 3 sojus deep, but that's funny. That's some money.
3 sojus to the wind, if you will.
3 sojus to the
He's
wind.
Bram stroking.
I be stroking.
Dude, I'm
Bram
stroking.
Rob, wrap us up for Christ's sake.
Bram stroking, baby.
Oh, Kyle, thanks for calling. It's good to hear from you, man. We definitely appreciate it. If you're listening, again, if you want to call in, leave us a voicemail to be played on next week's show. Hit us up at 904-638-3231. Do you guys have any questions to pose for next week?
Somebody make a better case for Cooter than we did in the Blade trilogy. Who is your number one out of the trilogy? Tell me that.
Also, I'm personally offended that we are not being sought after for personal life advice. We offered it up. And
I mean, people listen to the show. They know our lives aren't together.
Yeah, we're fucked. It's fine.
They don't need to hear our take on how to fuck up their lives.
We Bram stroking. Next week, we're going to be back with a brand new show. We're going to be talking about our first Patreon pick of the second quarter of the shit show that is 2020. We're going to be talking about a movie that was chosen by Caitlin. Thank you, Caitlin. Called Rawhead Rex from 1986.
Hell
1986. Bob, you like the 80s, don't you?
Yeah, generally speaking, I do. Never seen Rawhead Rex before. Heard of it. I am very intrigued. Can't wait to slam some eyeballs into it.
That sure is a title. I'm excited to know what it's about.
It is. Yes. Me too. I really don't know. Clive Barker is involved.
Clive.
That's the extent of my knowledge. So, watch Rawhead Rex.
Rawhead Wax.
You're osmosifying Justin's
Bob, you
drunk
haven't
right
even
now.
been drinking. God damn.
Crotchhead Rex.
Guys, look though. This is a third bottle of soju. Holy shit. That's a lot of soju. That's a lot of alcohol.
Yeah. All right.
You did it, man. You did it.
Holy shit. I'm fucked up.
Nobody believes you. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at STR8_chilling, on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join in on our daily Slack channel conversations, let me know through any one of those social media outlets, and I'll send you a link so you can join in on the Slack channel fun. Talk about the movie of the week, TV, music, video games, YouTube stuff, anything and everything that comes to mind. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep grilling.
The fuck?
Oh, wait. Please wait. Stop everything. Please. Stop everything. Hang on. Rob, are you still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It was a life or death situation.
It does. Bob, I need to ask you a very important question, and I made a list and everything. Please.
Okay.
Have you watched these movies? Dune, Mulholland Drive, Dazed and Confused, Last House.
Where did Bob go wrong? Were he and his friends sifting way too long through those Blu-ray bins? And it gets worse, he'll have no jet ski, wasting all his dough on those DVDs.
This just in. The show's not over somehow.
Thank you for the bump, Randy. Hang on, Bob.
All right.
Be honest.
One at a time. You got to do one at a time.
Okay, be
One at a time.
honest.
Yes or no?
Okay.
At the same time you bought Blade Trilogy, you bought these films. And we have been riding you about not watching Blade Trilogy, so I need to know, have you watched these films that you purchased? Dune.
Let's go. Halfway. Couldn't finish it.
Okay, Bob.
Movie's
Strong
terrible.
start.
You had to own it. Mulholland Drive.
Yes.
Okay. Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
Last House on the Left.
Yes.
Ninja 3.
No.
Bob!
Haven't seen it.
That's
You
not the name.
had to own it. You had to own it. Bob bought Ninja 3 at the same time he bought Blade Trilogy last July. Yes.
What else you got?
Humanoids from the Deep.
Yes, it's great, actually.
Weird Science.
Yes, also great.
Wicker Man, Nick Cage version.
Yes, very bad.
Hobgoblins.
Yes, it's all right.
The Brood.
Yes, it's hard to get through.
Yeah, it is.
And Blue Velvet.
Yes. It's
All
great.
right. So what was the one you didn't? Mulholland Drive? Wait.
No, I watched that.
Ninja 3.
Yeah.
Ninja 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So last
there you go.
July, Bob bought those movies. Ninja 3 is the one he has not watched, as well as we made Bob watch the Blade Trilogy. So I made a list.
You did.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better.
I do.
I hope you do.
So maybe next we'll cover Ninja 3.
We're not.
Catch you fuckers at a bad time.
Maybe.
Rawhead Rex, next week. Slam your elbows into it. Here we go. Actually ending the show.
just gonna make me.